All right. Waiting for that audio to come through, and then we're going to get started right away here, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. I think our audio is good to go. All right. We are good to go, guys. Sorry about that. There's a slight delay on my end. All right. We're going to get started right away. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take on our modeling challenge. You guys voted. You all voted for the circular saw. So now I have to deliver. So circular saw is a complex object, but we can break it down into simple shapes step by step. So that's what we're going to do today. So I think the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm in Blender. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of give myself a little bit more room here. I'll just put my reference on the left. I'll scrunch my face down a little bit for you guys here. I'm going to go ahead and start by saving this. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm just going to call it, I don't know, circular saw, something like that. Let's go here, circular. And this is just so I have it saved, and then I'll start adding in my file. So I'm going to add in an image reference first. Now I have downloaded everything to my downloads folder, so if I scroll down here, I'm going to pull on a side view first, and we're going to kind of piece this together piece by piece. Oh, it will let me do multiple. All right, we'll do side view, the back view. That's it. That's all I really need right now. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete everything else in my scene. I'm going to reset the rotation of these references here. Looks like it only imported the one, but that's okay. We'll come back to that. We'll just go ahead and add our second reference in. We'll do image reference. We'll come all the way back down here. All right, and then here is our initial reference. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and zero everything out. Our X90, and this is what we're going to start out with. Now, we will eventually go back to this second reference, but for right now, we're going to start mocking up some of the basic parts of this. Now, we can scale everything down later, but this will be kind of a more complex project. Like, we may be on here for 2 to 3 hours working on this. So I'm going to start exactly where I started last time, and that's just with the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and just add in a cylinder here. All right, I'm going to rotate it RX90, RZ90, perfect. I'm going to scale it on the Y. I'm going to go ahead and scale it out. Perfect. Now, a couple of things we can do here. We can turn on our X-ray mode so we can kind of see through this. And then what I like to do is I'm going to make my center point for this whole thing the center of the bolt. So I'm just going to kind of try my best to center it. It's not going to be like totally perfect, but I'm just going to center that image so that as we start piecing these things together, we're able to actually scale everything out properly. Now, you'll notice with the blade, we have these, obviously, these parts on the blade that are sharp. Those are going to be separate pieces, so we'll just start out by scaling this out. All right, just like that. Well, we can make this thinner later. What I really want to do is I want to go into my modifiers, add an edge split, and add a subdiv on here. Perfect, and we'll just shade that smooth. And again, we can come in here and we can scale it down a little bit thinner. We'll come back later, but what we need to do now is we're actually going to instance and rotate the parts of the blade on here. So what I'll do is I'll add in a plane. I will go ahead and pull that over here, tab into edit mode, scale it down, RX90. Okay, now I'm going to use this plane to basically sketch out each individual blade piece. So here we go. All right, so I'm seeing that this blade kind of starts here and it stops down there. So I'm just going to kind of rotate this, and what we're going to do is we're just going to piece this together by taking each edge, and we're just going to kind of like extrude it, all right? And we're going to kind of just move each edge as we see fit. So I'll kind of start this here. All right. Yeah, that looks good. So this is gonna be really, really rudimentary. Like, this isn't gonna be any advanced modeling here. We're really gonna take this kind of just step by step here. I may even come in here, subdivide this, and then grab this edge down here, extrude it a little bit, scale it, rotate it, and kind of just come off the edge here. Does not have to be perfect by any means. We're just really looking for something, like I said, really rudimentary. Perfect, that looks good. We'll kind of come out here, we'll extrude this, and we'll just start like piecing these things together as we see fit. All right, that looks good. We'll just go ahead and rotate this. This is a really rough profile, but we can refine it as we go. One thing I probably will do here is I will probably, let's see, I guess I could just do this. I could go here and here, just press F, or I'm sorry, not F. We'll come back up here first. We'll come back to that. Yeah, so again, I'm just extruding, nothing too crazy. Extrude these upwards. Now we don't really know how they go over here because we can't see where it starts and stops. We're just kind of got to go for it here. Perfect. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, like I said. All right. Now I will kind of skip back between vertex mode and I'll skip between this other mode here as well. This is, again, my approach to it. You guys can do this however you'd like. I just think this is a good approach because we're able to easily modify these things very quickly. Perfect. So like I'll subdivide that and then I would probably come down here, take this, right? Kind of go like that. Again, when we look at this, when we zoom out, it's going to actually look pretty decent for the most part. I'll go ahead and connect these two here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'll go here and here. Let's see, that should work perfect. We'll do F, and it's okay if there's a little overlap. I'm fine with that because we're gonna come back and refine it more later. Perfect, perfect. And we just need to subdivide this guy, and we'll come off of here. Perfect. Kind of bring this in a little bit. Bring this guy in. This is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this so far. That's totally fine. And if we want to come back here, we can subdivide again. Doesn't seem to be working. That's fine. All right. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I might really change is these two. I might try to bridge these. Yep. And then I might go in here and take this and subdivide that. Bring this corner in a little bit. All right, so that's kind of our like claw saw piece right there. And then what we might want to do now is we're just going to kind of rotate it around this axis here with a curve. So I'm just going to add in I'm going to go to add curve, circle curve, bring this out. I'll full screen this so you guys can like really see this. I'm going to hide that as well. All right, I'm going to take this curve, rotate it like that. I'm going to kind of bring it closer to where the blade is, which is right here. Kind of bring these two over here. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to kind of go ahead and take my Bezier circle, scale it out a little bit. And really what I want to do is I want to take this small piece and rotate it around everything else. 1 second. Picture of just the blade. Yeah, you can, and that's the thing. We could, but I'm just kind of going off the reference that we have. That is actually a really good idea. You definitely could do that. So I'm going to array this. Oops, there we go. I'm going to array this. I'm going to go ahead and give it a curve modifier. We'll just go ahead and select the curve itself. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll give this an array of however many. Now we do want these to overlap just a little bit. In this case, we actually want this to be on a curve. Where the heck did it go? Oh, did they change the array modifier? Oh, they may have changed the array modifier, and I did not realize that, so hold on a second. Okay, that's kind of a game changer. All right, hold on a minute then. Now, can I... Oh, I can do the distance. Bro, what? I did not know you could do this. That is kind of huge. All right, hold on. Now we need to go in here. We need to press A. We do RX90. Perfect. And let's see if that lines up. And it does, but it's flipped. So let's do RZ180. Did I do that correctly? Hold on. I'm thinking about this the wrong way. I did not know they changed the modifier. That is kind of like huge news. Okay, so I need to flip it completely. Hold on. So I need to flip it RX180. And then, is it correct? Now it's correct. All right, perfect. All right, so now it's correct. It's correctly oriented. Now we just need to fix the overlap, which I did not realize it was going to be that easy. All right, that changes everything. All right, so we don't have to do our original approach. I didn't even realize they added that to the new modifier, so that's kind of huge for us. Well, that is so clutch. All right, very good. All right, so that was kind of like, that was going to be one of the hardest parts of the blade, but now that we've done that, we don't even need our curved circle anymore, so we have one less thing that we need. I'm also going to go ahead and give this a solidify modifier. Of course, I'm going to bring this over to the middle of our blade. Now this, I do believe that on the blade, these kind of like overlap a little bit, so it's going to be kind of like, let's see here, it's going to be kind of like that. Now, you're not really going to be able to see the other side as much, but I do believe it does overlap. So I think that's going to be it for our saw blade right there. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Now we just need to get these inner cutouts. I may come back to those later because I don't want to miss the really important stuff, and that's just kind of like a small detail. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these both into a new collection. I'm going to do M new collection, and I'll just call it saw blade. Perfect. I'm going to hide both of these. All right, and I'm actually going to unhide the cylinder, duplicate it, because we have this little kind of like bolt thing in the middle, so I want to kind of design that real quick. So I'm going to scale this out. Now, it's not perfectly centered because I didn't center the image perfectly, so let me do that now. That's about right. Perfect. All right, so we have this. Now, this piece right here, I believe, is going to look more like that, and it's going to kind of have this indent on it, so I'll just kind of go into edit mode here. I'll inset this a little bit, something like that, and then just bring it out. Now, I'm going to get rid of the subdiv because I don't need it on this, and I don't need a edge split or smooth by angle. In fact, why is it? Oh, because it's shade. We need shade auto smooth. There we go. The heck, bro? Why is it looking like that? Shade it flat for a minute. There we go. That was weird. I'll just add a bevel to it. Oh, you know what? We also need to apply our scale. For the bevel, we'll do a super, super small bevel. And we'll scale this in a little bit more. Why is it like look so weird? We'll add a loop cut. There we go. All right, there we go. That's better. Why is this thing looking so weird? We'll add another loop cut. Hold on, I'm having difficulties with the geometry here. Shouldn't be such a. We're gonna restart this with a new cylinder. It's kind of acting a little funky on us here. Sorry about that, guys. Same concept, but we're really just gonna take this. I'll apply the scale first because it seems to be not wanting to do what we want it to do. We'll inset that a little bit. How much? We'll scale it in until we're happy with this. Okay, and then we'll just bring this out. Perfect. All right, that's a little bit better. We'll bring this side in too. There we go. All right, I feel like that's a little bit better at least. Edge split, subdiv. Okay, much better. That's what we were looking for. I'm not sure why, but it just didn't seem to want to do it the first time. That's okay. It happens. Scale it out just a little bit. Take this top face. Scale that in. Perfect. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to add another cylinder for the bolt. There's also a bolt generator, but for right now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to add mesh. I'll do cylinder, and then how many things does that bolt have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we only need 6 sides. So if we go here to vertices, we can type in 6. Perfect, and then we'll just rotate that, scale that way down, bring it out. All right, we'll scale it down on the Y. Let's see how close we got it. I bet you it's pretty close. And that's about right. And it's going to be pretty centered on there, so we'll just keep it centered there. Perfect. Now there is another, if you look really close, there's another black spot behind it. So we'll just add an inset to this face here. And we'll just inset it to the point where that black spot is so that later when we add our materials, we can easily fix that there. Cool. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So now if we unhide, and we'll go ahead and move these things to our new collection, to our saw blade collection. If we unhide the rest, now we have something that looks like this. So we have our saw blade, and we have these two pieces, which we need to move closer to our saw blade. Perfect. That should be good. So now we have pretty much our saw blade. All right, I'm pretty happy with the saw blade. I think we're ready to move on to the next step. Scoot my chair down a little bit. There we go. All right, guys, thank you for your patience. I've been learning Blender for some months or so. Can you find that picture on the internet? Yes, this is all on the internet. This is the brand is DeWalt. This is not sponsored or anything. We're just using this as an image reference. All right, let's go ahead and hide the saw blade. Let's make a new collection, and let's call it bottom guard. Okay, now this is the bottom guard right here. Now for anyone who's ever used one of these, you know that you have to protect yourself from the blade. This is an easy way to do it. Now they didn't always have this, right? Sometimes the blade's exposed, but we're actually going to build this. What did I build this out of last time? I think I built it out of a plane. Yeah, because I practiced this before we did this so that I would know how to do some of these parts. So this is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be kind of like a subdiv workflow right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start right here. All right, I am going to tab into edit mode and rotate this and scale it up. And I'm going to show you guys kind of like my workflow. I'm going to actually scale this down a little bit on the Z. Perfect. Now I'm going to rotate it, scale it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to extrude, 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 and I'm going to kind of add a subdiv surface as I do this. So what I'll do is I'll take each edge, I'll extrude it, right? Extrude it. I'll have to rotate it. I might have to scale it, things like that. For right now, though, if I take a look at this, it's pretty jagged. But of course, when I add my subdiv workflow here, now it's quite smooth, right? And you're going to have to keep adding to these pieces, right? It's going to look a little bit funky at first, but as long as you line everything up just right, you should be good to go. All right, here we go. All right, so now this is the part where it's going to get kind of weird, right? Because now we're going to have to branch off here, right? We're going to have to start branching off here. And here, we're going to have to kind of scale this down, right? And we're going to refine as we go with edge loops, right? So like right here, for example, what we'll do is I'll probably branch off here and stop there. And then I will kind of branch off from there. There we go. All right, cool. And again, it's kind of like just the workflow that we're working with here. Okay, we'll probably do something like this and then that. We'll come back to that other part later and see how I'm just kind of piecing this together. It's really nothing too crazy. And then, so this is the part that's kind of important right here, right? This is where we kind of start to want to rotate and like we want to kind of reconnect everything right here. So we can click here and bridge that with F. Just be careful because you're going to start to get tries up here. So it's okay to have a couple of tries, but this is, when I say tries, I mean triangles. Like I tend to stray away from those because I feel like that workflow is a little bit harder to deal with. What I love about the sub-D workflow is now I can come in here and like really refine this shape, right? I can really start to like feel this shape out and feel what it's going to actually look like. Usually the more of these you have, the better. I feel like it's easier to work with, right? Okay. See how I'm kind of starting to piece everything together? The edge split. Oh, the edge split helps with the cylinder. For some reason, if you don't have that with the cylinder, it's really, really hard to get a smooth transition to your like the bevel, or if you do a bevel or a subdiv, it's gonna look like really strange. You know what? Let me go back. I want to do this. I want to do E. I want to do E here. Perfect. So now what we can do is we can go up here, add like a loop cut. Doesn't want to let me add one. There we go. So I don't really know what it looks like behind this part. I'm just going to assume naturally that it just curves up like that. We don't really know. Also, you'll notice it's still a little jagged. We can add one more. Perfect. Now for this part here, this is where you kind of come in here and you take this vertice. You kind of start to mess around with these parts here. So like I may take our vertice, bring it down here. I may kind of come up here. Right, may take this one, kind of come up here, and if you need more refinement, you can add more edge splits. But I'm trying to keep this as low key as possible. That looks pretty good for the most part. Probably take a couple of these. You can also use proportional editing to make these things easier. I'm pretty happy with what we have here. Kind of want to close in this gap a little bit. This looks pretty good. I'm relatively happy with what we have. So now if we look, we pretty much have that shape all mocked up. And then, oh, the hotkey for edge split. I don't think there's a hotkey, but or if you're talking about the edge loop that I'm adding, when I add an edge loop, Control R adds another like cut. All right, so this looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add, let's add a solidify modifier to this. All right. Now, if we look at our half view right here, you can see that, right down here, you can see that it goes around to both sides. So we are going to add a mirror modifier to that. So we're going to go ahead and add a mirror modifier. All right, and then we'll target our blade. So we need to turn our blade back on real quick. We'll target our blade, and we're going to use the Y axis for this. Okay, so now if you look, oh, you know what? We need to object apply rotation. Perfect. All right, so we need to bring this in closer here. We should be having mirroring on the Y axis. Why aren't we? Did we not apply the rotation properly? Okay, I guess we didn't. Whatever, we'll do Z. It doesn't really matter because in this instance, we're going to kind of bring it all back together anyway. I'm also going to duplicate this image so I can just see it over here. All right, so we're going to have a slight bevel as well. And we're eventually going to connect these two pieces in the center here. Let me turn on my random color in so you can really see this. So what we'll eventually do is we'll take this edge here. We'll kind of start moving it towards the center, and we'll connect these two. I'm going to leave it at that right now because I want to start to piece together the main geometry, and then we can kind of come back to the rest. Some of this is going to be a little bit more complex, but what I'll do here is after the solidify modifier, I will add a bevel. I'll bring it right here. One thing you want to make sure of is that you get rid of clamp overlap. Now you're going to get some weird geometry as well, so just keep that in mind and be ready for that. We're going to be able to fix that too. But right now this is looking really good because if you look in this picture, we have that slight inner bevel. You can also decide which parts have the bevel and which don't, because there's really no bevel on this inner part right here, or like this outer part. There's really, if I take all these, I can make the bevel weight 0, or hold on, Alt 0. I believe that should work. Or you can do them individually. Only this inner part should have a bevel. So like this part right here, mean bevel weight should be 0 on each of these, but you're going to have to individually click. And then you're also going to have to go back in here, and for the limit angle, you're going to have to go to weight, because it's really looking for the bevel weight itself. Now if I take this inner loop and I make the mean bevel weight 1, now it's going to have a bevel only on the inside. Now you'll notice we have some weird geometry here. It has to do with like the proximity of everything and where our loop cuts are. So in order to fix that, we can start by like adding one loop cut here. We can add a loop cut here, which might help a little bit. Try to add one. Let's try right here. That'll help a little bit, and then we can kind of take this piece. Let me see what's going on with this one. Might just be too close. We're getting some weird overlap here, so let me double check. Oh, you know what? Our solidify might not be enough. Make it a little bit more. The amount for the bevel, kind of want it to be like that. We got some weird stuff going on over here, so we can take a look and see if we can add another piece of geometry to help it out. This part might be a little tricky to figure out. Let's see what we can do here. Looks like this guy's going to want to give us a hard time. Might have to come back to that. But that's starting to look good. So the rest won't have a bevel, but that one inner part will. And it doesn't look like there's too much more of a bevel except for on the outside. So what I'll do is I will tab into edit mode. I will select this outer edge here. Do I have that selected? Let me see. Yep, there we go. So now this is that outer edge on the outside. So if I take this, I can extrude it out and then bring it in to get that bevel, right? So I can kind of come in here and get that slight bevel. Perfect. And if I really want to make sure that that subdiv doesn't like take over, I can come in here and add another loop cut. Kind of sharpen that a little bit. That's starting to look pretty good. Yeah, I feel like that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that so far. I feel like I'm going to call it a day on like the main geometry for that, just because that will take forever if we keep doing that. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to add these little ridges. These should be pretty simple. I'm just going to do like a Boolean cut. I'm not going to do anything too crazy here. So I'm going to add in a cube, scale that down, bring it over here. Actually going to hide the, actually, I'll just pull it over here so I can easily design it. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take this cube, tab into edit mode, scale it up. It's going to be just something like that, right? And then I'm basically just going to give it a little bevel at the top. Nothing too crazy. I'll probably just do it manually because I feel like that's going to be the easiest to do. Let me just object apply scale. And let's see how that looks. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll give it one more bevel because it kind of has like an inner bevel on the opposite side. So if we select this edge loop, we can kind of bevel it inwards a little bit. So now if we look at this, it's going to look kind of like, do a little bit less. It's going to look kind of like that. Perfect. So it's kind of push in and kind of have that slight beveled look. Perfect. And now we'll take this piece. We will move it over here on the X. Go to our X-ray mode. Move it perfectly into place. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll tab into edit mode, press A to select everything. We'll duplicate this, rotate them. So I could do an array with like an offset, but I just feel like this is easier. It's quicker. I don't have to like mess around with all the settings. I'm just going to do this, and then we're going to push it right into our piece there, and we'll just have this be a Boolean. Perfect. So now we'll bring this closer to the surface until it's cutting in to the surface like that. That looks pretty good. We'll go in here. We'll add our Boolean. And we only really need this on the one side anyway, so I'll go ahead and select that. I'll hide. And now we kind of have those marks. And if we need to bring them out more, we just click here. Bring them out more towards the edge. And now we have those marks that we needed. And then the next thing we'll do the same concept, but we'll do this with the arrow as well. I'm trying to go for like a higher level of detail here. Let me see something. Okay, so we've been streaming for about 26 minutes. Okay, we're doing good. All right. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make an arrow. So I will actually do the same thing I did for a Boolean, but this time I think I'm actually going to grab one of these pieces here. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to do separate selection. Now I have this individually, so I can kind of come back here, move it over to where the arrow would be, and I will piece this together into my arrow. There we go. Okay, so I'll start the arrow like this. Okay, and I'll come back in here. I will take, let's see, what do we have here? This should just be a face here. Perfect. I'll just take this face, keep extruding, something like that. Let's see. Scale it out, rotate, same concept, extrude, and scale. Perfect. Now, if I look to the side, it's going to be all wonky. In order to fix this, I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. Tab into edit mode, go to my side view, and then what I'm going to do here is I am going to select this piece and this piece, scale it in on the Y, kind of make it thinner like that. All right, and then I'm also going to do the same to these two, except for they have to be scaled out on the Y. Like that, perfect. And now it should be more or less even. And if I want to get it like perfect, I tab into edit mode, I select all these, SY0 to flatten. And now I have something that looks like this. Get out of our focus mode here, or our snap in mode. We should be able to just use the same Boolean concept here. I'll go ahead and select this guy, hide him, and now we have it. Perfect. And I'm also going to enable my cavity here so we can really see this, and just some very, very slight shadowing. Perfect. Now we can like really see what's going on. So we have that. We're going to hide these guys. So I think we have a pretty good start for our bottom part there, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. And we'll come back to that bottom like lip area because, again, like I said, we want to kind of take this piece here. Eventually, we're going to, I'll just look at it real quick. This one's going to be kind of tricky because we want to have this like, we almost want this like overhang, but we don't want it to be like, I don't know how to explain it. We don't want it to be so overlapping that it becomes like a problem, right? Because right now, it's kind of already a problem. Where's our other guy? Yeah, like these two need to come together a little bit. We may be able to like remesh that one part. It's going to look something kind of like that. But again, we have some weird issues that we're dealing with. What is going on down here? Oh, I think, is it this guy? Yeah, it is. All right, we'll come back to that. I'm not really ready to mess with that just yet. as I continue to do that. Okay, that's fine. All right, I'm okay with like just kind of leaving it at that. It's fine. That's going to be a more complex part that I'm not really ready to tackle yet. All right, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Now we're going to do the top guard. So that was the bottom guard. Let's go ahead and hide that. Let's do the top guard, which is going to be very similar, except for we're actually going to use a cylinder. So I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to call this top guard. We're going to add a cylinder. Now we're going to need more than 6. Let's do like 20. Let's do 40. I want to really keep it nice here. Let's keep our quality high, right? Scale this out until I'm about reaching that edge there. Perfect. So again, what I'm trying to do here is kind of match that curve at the top. So that looks pretty good right there. Pretty happy with that. Again, come in here, edge split, subdiv, all that good stuff. Subdivision surface, perfect. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're actually going to go into edit mode. We're going to delete our faces, all right? And we're going to take only the top half of this, only the top that we need. So let's go into edit mode. Now, it's going to be hard to see this for you guys, but I'm just going to delete all the vertices that I don't need, all right? And we're going to be left with something that looks like this. It's going to look kind of like that, which is actually exactly what we want. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to start to piece everything together. You know what? Hold on. That's not how I did it. This is not how I did it last time. I'm sorry. I forgot. I actually I made a mistake. I want to instead inset this. That's right. Hold on. So I added a loop cut here. That's right. I deleted everything on the right side. It's all coming back to me now, guys. Don't worry. Deleted all the vertices. Now we're left with something like this. And then what I did is I inset the front face. Now I remember. All right, so I inset the front face to about where this part like ends, like right about there. And then I delete that part, that face. And then I go into edit mode. And then this is where I start to delete the things that I don't need. In this case, I don't need these faces. I don't need those faces. And I probably don't need those two right there. So I'll delete those faces. Now I'll have something that looks kind of like this. Delete that face. Perfect. Now I have something that looks just like this, which is like our rough shape for what we're kind of going for here. Do you find references yourself, or they've been provided you by the team? Nope, I found all of these references on my own. Yep, which I'm more than happy with, because this is like, I don't know. I enjoy this process. Like, I really do. All right, so I'm gonna add a loop cut. Give ourselves a little something to work with here. Perfect. So really what we need to do here, this is kind of a not complex part, but this part we need to like really pay attention to what we're doing. It's important to look at this side profile right here, because you can see there's this like ridge in the middle. There is like a slight bevel on the outside. So what I'll probably do is, the first thing I'll do is I'll add in a bevel. Okay, and we're going to bevel an edge. In this case, I only want to bevel this edge, so I want to give this a mean bevel weight of 1. And I want this to be by weight, and I want to unclamp the overlap. And why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why aren't you clamping? Or why aren't you... Where's the bevel? Where's my bevel? Am I stupid? Don't answer that. Why is my bevel not working? All right, we'll do it manually, whatever. All right, so I'm going to do it manually because I don't feel like dealing with whatever was happening there. I'm going to just quite literally eyeball it. Oh, I know why it's not working. We didn't apply our scale. Let's try it again. All right, bevel, not angle. We want weight. Mean bevel weight. Let's see if it works now. Why doesn't it want to work? Will it work manually? Okay, it will work manually. All right, we'll just do the manual way. That's fine. All right, so we have our bevel. That looks decent enough. I'm fine with it. I'm not in love with it, but I'm fine with it. I also want to add a loop cut right about here, because if you look really, really closely, there's this little like ridge that pops out, like right here. I don't know if you guys see where I'm pointing. Yep. And then in the middle, up here, we want to add a loop cut here, here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take both of these, move them up like that, scale them on the Y, move it back. And I'm actually going to use a mirror modifier now. So I'm going to move this over to where the guard would be, which is right above the blade. Okay, and then we'll just do a mirror modifier on the Y axis, and we'll choose our blade. So now we'll have something that looks kind of like this. Perfect. Now we have something that looks like that. So we're starting to get somewhere. It's going to look a little funky down here because of our modifiers that we have on this. And I'm also noticing I don't think it quite overlaps that much. So I'm going to scale it down just a little bit more. Like it definitely does overlap, but not too much. Okay, that looks good. All right, I'm also going to give this some thickness. So right after the bevel modifier, I'll add a solidify modifier right here. Give this some thickness. Perfect. Give it some geometry there. It's starting to look pretty good. At least it's starting to kind of come together. Now let's come back to this part here. Let's go ahead and take one more loop cut here. Let's bring it here. Let's take these two. Alt-click to select those. GY. Just give it that ever so slight like indent, I guess, if you will. And then what I'll do next, looks like it comes out there. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. Ooh, challenge accepted. And don't worry, I didn't forget about this part off to the left. We're going to get to that. We haven't gotten there yet. Now, it does look like, man, they really challenge you with this one. It does look like right about maybe here, this part's going to come out too. Oh, they're really challenging me here. See, we need a loop cut like, I don't know, right about there. So I'm going to select both of these. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. Oh, how am I going to do this? SZ0. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. Hold on, let me think about how I'm gonna do this. I guess I could rotate it. Actually, it really is. It's only these two. Oh no, you know what I'll do? Let me see if I can do this. I almost want to say that it's kind of like that, right? It's not like this isn't gonna be perfect by any means. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me select both of these. Okay. All right, and then I will select this part here. This is going to be a tough one, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this, what I think will work. Let's try that. All right, and then what we'll do is just need to pop that one side out a little bit. I wonder if this works. I'll be pretty happy with myself here. I'm going to need to pull this side out. These are really going to need to come out too. You know what? I need one more loop cut here. And then this part here can come out. Actually, it really can only be this part and this part, SY0, GY. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a doozy. I'm going to something funny how my brain thought to use an insert for the flat part or Boolean CAD training sometimes is a curse. Absolutely. Yeah, I never really came from like a CAD background per se, so I'm not as well versed with that stuff. I think the edge split is what's messing it up. Yep, edge split is definitely what's messing it up. I'm getting rid of the edge split. I was right, it was the edge split all along. And that's okay. Where was I at here? Tell you what though, the edge split made it nicer for like, well, obviously the shading, but if we shade smooth, it still looks pretty okay. I'm getting distracted here. Hold on. Let me do this. There we go. Let's go into wireframe mode. And now I was working with these two edges here. Was it this one? I think it was this one. You know what? I may do, actually, guys. I think I have a better idea. Let me go all the way back. Let me go all the way back. Let me go here. I may push just that part in. The opposite. Sorry. The opposite part, I may just push that inwards. So in other words, we take all of this, and we level it out, and then we push these parts. I just want to see what it looked like if we push these parts in right here, rather than do the method that I'm doing now. So it theoretically could work, but I'd have to bring everything else with it. So I'd have to like almost unselect. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Wow, I did not think this was going to be the part that I was going to get stuck on, but I will tell you that I didn't do this in the last one. I kind of avoided this part because I thought maybe it would be a pain. So I am going to come back to this, and that's okay because I do want to really quickly cut this out with a Boolean. So I promise I'll come back to that. We're going to try not to skip on any details here, but due to my ADHD, I must do something different because I'll get frustrated. So, and that's the nature of the 3D artwork, right, guys? All right, so what we'll do, I'm actually going to leave that there for just a minute. I just realized that we didn't add this like extra geometry here. We forgot to like do that, so I'm going to do that right now. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to use, I think I'll just use proportional editing here. I'll just go ahead and turn that on. I'll grab this stuff here. Go ahead and do that. Okay, and then I'll just take this. That's fine. Did that work? I feel like that did not work. Wow, that's going to be a tough one because that kind of comes all the way out. This almost has to get pinched. Hold on. Let's see what this looks like. It did give me that extra like geometry we wanted, but it does look a little funky. And that's partially due to the bevel. Wow, that's a tough profile to capture. Oh, and then one thing you can do here is if you take this bottom edge loop, you can do SZ0 to kind of scale it to the, well, as far down as you can. Perfect. All right, I feel like that looks not terrible. It's not my finest work. Oh, I see what happened. It scrunched the back part. Oof. All right, I'm fine with it for now. I ain't really looking for like exact perfection. I mean, I want it to be good, but I don't want it to be like taking me all day. So I want you guys to get, I want us to be able to get to the other fun parts too. All right, same concept here. Tab into edit mode. We're just gonna like kind of rotate this, kind of scale it a little bit. We're gonna take the edges, extrude, scale them out, extrude, scale. And then I'll probably go back and forth between vertex select mode, whatever else. And then we're going to give it some solidify. And we're just going to kind of cut a Boolean out of our shape here. Nothing too crazy. We're still on proportional editing. I was like, why is this being so weird? There we go. Okay, extrude, scale, perfect. And then what I'll do is I'll take this piece, kind of bring it out. This is such a tedious, like, I will say this saw is going to be tedious, and I knew that when you guys voted for it that it would be, but I'm still having fun with it. I am still having a lot of fun. All right, we're going to keep extruding, scaling, right, kind of stuff like this. Extrude, scale, extrude, scale, extrude, scale, boom. All right, I'm happy with that. Now what we need to do, you guys already know, we're going to go ahead and give this a subdiv. That's fine. Solidify. And we're going to solidify this to the point where we're going to easily be able to cut right into our shape. It's weird. Oh, did I not? Maybe I didn't adjust this properly. I really thought I did. All right, let's do this. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll take this. Again, we'll probably solidify it, bring it out, and then we're going to cut right into it. That's perfect. Again, we'll do another Boolean. What is your type of 3D artist? My type? I don't know. I guess just regular? I'm a 3D generalist, I think is what they normally call it. It's not terrible. The geometry is all types of messed up on this one part up here, though, so I might have to, like, fix that. Why does it look so wacky there? So that's, I guess, where the sawdust comes out. Anyway, man, this thing has been a pain. All right, so here's what we have so far. We're actually doing really good, I think. So we have the top guard. We have the bottom guard. Okay. Quick breather moment here. Alrighty. Okay, so our next part, guys, and I know I realize the cam's not perfect. Okay, there we go. All right, so I realize the next part is probably going to be this little, like, funky looking thing right here. And I think I have an idea of, like, how I want to make it. I actually think we can just use a, like, we might be able to use a plane. There's a couple, man, there's like a million ways we could do this part right here. I think I have it. Okay. So this part's going to be part of the bottom guard because technically it's like, I guess, connected to the bottom guard. So let's do, God, do we want to do a cylinder or do we want to, no, let's do a plane. Okay. Hear me out. Bring it out here. RX90. X-ray mode. Scale it. Okay. Scale it. Rotate it. Scale it. Rotate it. Perfect. Now, we're going to go ahead and add a subdiv. All right. We're going to tab into edit mode. We're going to add a loop cut. Bring this over here. We'll go ahead and take this edge. Bring it in. And let's see how that looks. Perfect. Okay, and now we need some solidify here. All right, now we kind of have this like general shape. It's not perfect by any means, but if we go in here, we can kind of fine tune everything. All right, good. We gotta set the origin to geometry here. This is a little sharper, so I'm gonna drag this up here more. All right, I feel like that looks pretty good. Why does it look like this is not tilted properly? All right, that's fine. All right, so that's that little piece there, maybe a little bit thicker. And then this kind of like holds on to this, like, I don't really know what you would call this thing. This next part's gonna be, this next part's gonna be pretty interesting here. I'm curious to see. Well, hold on. Before we do that, is this gonna work if I do this? No, it's not. That's cool. Even though that wasn't intentional. All right. Either way, we're getting distracted. All right, let me duplicate this because we're actually going to take all this and we're going to make this into that like top part. So the top part has, so this is where it's going to get really interesting because now I'm looking at this and I'm like, this one has like almost two pieces to it. I'm almost seeing this being like a cylinder with some extrusions off of it. And then I'm seeing like this other piece that kind of jets out. So let me really think about this before I construct this piece. Let me just see if I can. I wonder if this will work. If I add a bevel to this with no limitations. Okay. What? Why are we getting such weird things going on over here? That's so weird that it can't. I guess it's because of the clamp overlap. All right, that's fine. We'll construct it out of a cylinder then. All right, we'll take a cylinder. Go ahead, scale it up. RX90Y. I was gonna say that's not working for us. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, so we'll start with the cylinder. We'll go ahead and give it a apply scale here. And then I think what we'll do is it's all, like I said, this one's weird because it's like, it's got its own cone and then it has like, I think this part we'll just do this. We'll just do a bevel and we'll just do this part because I don't really think, all right, so this side's gonna have nothing. We'll do 0 and then this side will have 1 and we'll give it weight. So then we'll just be able to do this. And we'll just bring this in, turn off our proportional editing. Okay, I feel like maybe it comes out a little bit more. Okay, how's that look? See, like, it's crazy because on this model, it's so easy to overthink every single little thing, like, because there's so many little pieces on this stinking model. Guys, what was I like actually like thinking here? You know what? Do I want to do it by weight? You know what? I want to do this. I want to do this. Hold on. Get rid of this. I'm going to do this manually, I decided. Okay. Really doesn't want to let me grab. Are you kidding me, bro? There we go. Okay. Okay, good. And then I'll do inset a little bit. That'll be where the screw goes. And then right here on the edge, I'll do my bevel. I feel like that looks pretty good. What's your biggest model made ever? This one. Definitely this one. I don't think I've ever made anything this complex. I'll be totally honest with you guys. But that's kind of like why I've been trying to like vamp up my own skills. You know what I mean? Like, I want this to be great. I really do. It's not perfect, but oh, you know what you know what's really important also? See how this isn't shaded properly? Anything that you use as a boolean, for example, these pieces, they also need to be shaded smooth. Otherwise, the inner shading of the boolean will not be smooth. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now for this next part, I'm thinking we just do a plane and we just kind of use a solidify modifier and we kind of like go for it here. So let's see if we can do this. Plane, scale it down. Okay. What does it start like? Kind of midsection here. I feel like it starts like kind of like that, but it's like really intersecting. Like to the point where I feel like this part's gonna be like literally like inside of our shape. Yeah, like that more. That's fine, we'll come back to that. Wow, this thing is really gonna give us a run for our money, I think. I mean, we'll still figure it out, but at the end of the day, it's crazy how much, like, Wow, it's crazy how much this can actually become. I'm thinking now I might actually not be able to do the solidify modifier. I might actually have to like extrude this thing and make it into like a real shape. Yep, we're gonna have to. I don't know. I don't know how else to do it. Okay, so now I'll go top down. It's like, you know what's even crazier? It's almost like profiled like this part here is almost like profiled to match this edge like that. Does that make sense? We could use the shrink wrap modifier. Actually, this might be a good opportunity to try something I learned in another video. Let me see if this works. Shrink wrap, and then we'll use a vertex group. And in this case, the vertex group needs to be all these 4 vertexes here. Let's go to vertex groups. Let's add one, assign. See if this works. If this works, I'll probably use this a lot more. This is the target. You want this vertex group, and you want did that work? It did work. Let's go. All right, we'll use that more often, since now that I know that it works, then good. Also, I need to rotate these. Just these 2. Perfect. That is awesome. I love it. I will say that is a clutch thing right there, because now we have something that we can like really, really work with. Wow. I'm loving that technique. We're definitely using that again. It's not perfect, but it works. It kind of like snaps to the surface. We obviously have to be a little careful with like where this is, because it's now the bottom is looking a little funky. That is so cool. Wow, it really works. I learned this from another tutorial recently, and I actually think that was a pretty good technique. All right. Again, distracted, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Boom, boom. Oh, God. Yeah, there we go. All right, that looks pretty good. I feel like that looks more or less kind of like what we have. And then I'm just going to add a plane. I can't believe that took that long. I'm going to add a plane. And now I'm going to construct the other part out of the plane. Also, the mouse I'm using, a little bit tricky. So if I seem to stumble, that's why. I'm not quite used to this mouse yet. I know, no excuses, but it's the truth. I'm using a Bluetooth mouse, but for some reason the actual like scroll wheel part of it is a little bit funky to me. Okay, perfect. Now what I'll do is I'll add a solidify modifier to this, and then I will start piecing things together. This one should be interesting because we kind of have this cutout in the middle, but I actually think we can achieve that without a Boolean. So let's go ahead and go into edit mode here. All right, let's just kind of start working this out here. Guess I probably should have been looking in X-ray mode this whole time, but that's okay. Doing our absolute best here. Okay, we're getting to the interesting part here. All right, so this is the part where it like flips upwards. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this is going to work from a side profile. Because it kind of like flips upwards like that, I want to say. That looks pretty good. I actually think we kind of nailed it. Maybe it jets out a little bit further than that. Let's see what happens if we do a subdivision surface before this. Not terrible, not terrible. All right, now what we have to do is cut out these inner parts. Now, how are we going to do this? I have an idea. I think I'm going to add 2 loop cuts. One here and one here. And then I'm just going to add them to wherever I think I need to cut out. Kind of just go from there and hope for the best. And just cut out the faces that I don't need. Let's see if my strategy works or not. Delete the faces. And then delete the faces. All right, it does sort of work. But now we would need to like refine further. But that is actually pretty cool that that worked that well. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Let me see this. Let me see if I can refine it a little bit further like this. Yep, I can. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Adding little loop cuts here and there. Nope, nope, get out of this. And now I just need to figure out, do I just bring this in here? Oh, I'll take it. That looks good. So cool. And just like that, we have something that looks, I would say, pretty good. It's not perfect, but it looks better than I had actually like expected. I'm just gonna kind of pull a few of these things in. This should be, I guess, a little bit bigger, is what I'm gathering. Not bad. Not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. All right. I'm pretty happy with that so far. I cannot believe how long this has already taken us. Now we're getting to like the fun part because I'm excited to do this next part. We will come back to some of this other stuff. Obviously, like, it's not perfect, right? It's really not. But I think the next step naturally would be to create this like bottom plate. Get out of here, Windows. I don't have anything to do with that right now. So I guess the next step naturally would be to create this like bottom plate, which is like this thing right here. So I'm going to hide our this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. I'm going to add in a plane. And then I'm just going to kind of give this a solidify modifier so we can kind of like see it a little bit better. Obviously, it's not going to be that solid, but I'll go ahead and bring this down. I will scale it up on the X. Okay. Just go ahead and bring this stuff up over here. We'll go here. Perfect. Kind of like give it a rough idea of like where everything's going to be. See how that looks so far? Perfect. And then let's go ahead and give this a proper thickness. Perfect. All right, so now we have something that we can start to work with. And now we're going to need to look at these like angled views again. So we're going to need, where is it? We're going to need to go into our downloads, and we're going to need to open up this guy here. Okay. And we're going to need to kind of figure out this profile. Now, I don't really have a top-down view of this, so I'm going to be kind of estimating some of this stuff. So for this, I am going to turn all of our other stuff back on. And we're going to estimate kind of like what this is going to look like. So what's interesting about this is now we're going to start to use like bevels and things like that. Now I'm already kind of gauging, okay, where is the distance between this and the guard? It's pretty darn close. So I'm going to press A and bring it in a little bit. Now it's not too close, but it's close enough that, because remember, this is kind of like a guide, if you will, right? And then I'm also looking at like, where does this in proximity to where this starts to curve around? And that's where I'm going to add an edge loop here. Should be about right a little bit above it, I think. GG is to slide our edge loop. Honestly, it looks pretty close. Same concept for the back part here. And I'm looking, I'm estimating, I'm adding another loop cut. This one's tough, right? Because this, we know that this side is thinner than the other side. So we know when we start to come over here, right, we're going to probably take this, we're going to extrude it, right? Get out of this. get out of this. We're going to extrude it on the Y, right, eventually. And we're going to kind of come down here and start to piece things together, right? So I'm going to kind of extrude that a little bit. Going to start playing around with like what this would look like if it was extruded. And then we'll come back in here and start like adding in our bevels. But I'm just going to like really inspect this for a second. So here's a cool trick that I learned from CG Cookie. And this is a quick opportunity to shout out the specific course real quick. Just want to shout this out. This isn't an advertisement, but it kind of is. Our CG Core Fundamentals of Blender. Now, I learned this specifically from mesh modeling with Jonathan Lampel. I just want to shout him out real quick. He taught me specifically how to use bevel weight, which I never knew about, and it is just so powerful because I'm not an expert modeler. He is, but everything that I learned from him, when it comes to like hard surface modeling, things like that, and using modifiers, it's just incredible what I learned. So I do want to just shout out CG Cookie Core Fundamentals of Blender. If you really want to learn about Blender in depth like this with other creators like me and people who just absolutely know what they're doing, I cannot recommend this enough. So here you go. Let me drop that in the chat below. If you're already a member of CG Cookie, you should already be able to access that. But let me tell you, it is no joke, right? The things you're going to learn in there, no joke at all. So let's add a bevel modifier. Now, in this case, we can get away with some simple stuff here because I want to only bevel the vertices, right? And I want to kind of do something like that. But as you can see, the bevel inside is much greater than the one on the outside. So what we can do is we can tab into edit mode, go to vertex select mode. We can select our specific vertices that we want to work with. And then we can increase the bevel weight. So I'll do bevel weight of 1 here. And I'll do bevel weight of, I don't know, 0.2 here. And then when we tab out of edit mode, you'll notice there's no change. You have to change the limit angle to weight. And now you'll see that we have a slight bevel on the outside and a greater bevel on the inside. I'm also going to go to geometry and get rid of this clamp overlap option so that I can really curve these, right? So I can really get the curve that I'm looking for here. Same concept over here. What do we use? 1 for the inside. So I'll click on this one. I'll do a bevel weight of 1. Click on the outside, bevel weight of 0.2. And now you can see that we have this nice curvature on the inside, right? If we look at this, we have a nice curvature on the inside. We have a slight curvature, excuse me, on the outside. So we're kind of starting to piece this together the way that we want to. Now, normally one would think, okay, let's use a mirror modifier and pop this back on the other side. We don't want to do that because in this case, the other side, the actual fence or like the flat part extends way beyond that. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to duplicate this, okay, Shift D and duplicate it. I'm going to press A in edit mode and I'm going to go to mesh, mirror, and I'm going to mirror it on the Y global, just like that. Actually, let's do, I'm sorry. Let me think about this for a minute. I'm actually not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm going to tab out edit mode. I'm going to get rid of the bevel, keep the solidify. I'm actually just going to delete these 2 edges here. And then I'm going to delete, excuse me, I'm going to delete these edges as well. Why is it not letting me? There we go, select box. Delete these edges. Perfect. And then I have basically the opposite of what I had before, but it still has my loop cuts. So now I can come in here. I can extrude this on the Y. And I can meet these back together here. And this is important because, like I said, on this side, it extends, right? It does kind of meet on the Y. You can see there's this little gap, and then there's this extra piece of fence here that I believe is like adjustable on the actual, like the actual product itself. But that is what we're going to go ahead and create next. So I think what I might do is I may see if I can get away with this in edit mode. Let me see. Shift D. Extrude on the Y. And I can, let's go. But then, let me see if I can do this. RX 180. Yep. Oh my gosh. I'm a Blender god. I'm a Blender god. All right, and then we'll meet these back up right here. Now, this fence piece, I believe, should match up with the saw blade. So that's how we know we're doing something wrong here. So if we need to, we just come back here, go to our side view. We're going to adjust this till it's about here. Then we'll come back here. We'll take these 2 guys here. We'll move this so it's about in the center, like so. We'll come back here, move this. Again, there's just this ever slight gap here. Tab into edit mode again. We'll grab this edge now, bring it up close, real close, right about there. Now we have something that we're working with here, right? And then this piece, obviously, we know that these two pieces here, right, this piece should come forward just a little bit. Perfect. Now we're kind of starting to work with something here. And then what we can do is now we can take this edge and we can drag it out here, right? Because we know we have a lot more to work with back here. We take this, we move this, right? And then I'm also going to take a look at this other side. Oops. I'm looking to see, there we go. I'm looking to see if this is all one piece on the other side. I think it is, so we're going to have to make it look more or less pretty seamless. But I am going to drag this back, and I'm going to try to meet these up right here. And we're going to overlap them on purpose because we're going to fix that later with some shading stuff. But for the most part, I need to take this line here, which is our fence line, and I need to drag it out to right about there. And then we'll come back and we'll analyze this side and see how, what the dimensions actually look like, because I think it's far too extended over here. Like it'd probably be more like that. That looks pretty good. And we can always come back in here later and we can actually straighten all this out. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with what we have so far. What about using Pure Ref? You can use Pure Ref. That's something that would be optional. I do have it. Actually. All right, so we've been streaming for about an hour. We're actually doing really good. I'm really happy with the progress that we've made so far. Okay, now guys, we need to go ahead and tab into edit mode here. We need to add our bevel modifier only on our vertices, and we want the limit method to be weight. And then we want to go ahead and add each individual vertex that should have its own bevel weight. This one should have 1. This one and this one should have 0.2. This should have 0.2. This guy should have nothing because we don't want anything there. This one should be 1. Perfect. And then how many segments did I have on the other one? I had 6 segments, so let's do 6. Perfect. And then I'll copy this amount as well. Perfect. Now we have a good matchup here. And that is exactly what we're looking for. And then I always like to press A, Shade Auto Smooth, just to make sure everything's looking nice and smooth. And it is. And we're starting to really get somewhere with this. I'm really happy with this so far. Now, we didn't assign bevel weights to these right here. But that looks kind of like what it has. This one's going to be a little tricky. This one right here. Because there's like a weird like loop cut going on there and something. So we'll come back to that. All right, let's see what we want to tackle next. Wow, okay, we did a really good job so far. I feel like naturally, I kind of want to tackle like this piece right here. It's kind of hard to see. This is like the piece that holds it all together on the left. I'll show you what I mean. So this piece right here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is like we'll probably use a plane for this, and we'll just extrude it, something simple like that. So I'm going to add in a plane. Oh, also, this is the bottom. I'm just going to make a new collection. I'm going to call this bottom fence, even though I don't know if that's what it's called, but we're just going to call it that because I feel like that naturally would be what we would call it. Now I'm going to go ahead and call this one pivot bracket. I don't know. I feel like that's appropriate for like what it is. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and scale this down. All right, so now for our pivot bracket, it kind of sits right at the end here. It kind of sits like right there. So I feel like that's like an accurate spot for it. I'm going to give it a solidify just so we can kind of see what's going on here. Okay. Helps us when we start to craft this stuff, right? Now for the solidifyness, like the thickness, that looks pretty good. All right, now I noticed when I originally did this, I actually did it incorrectly, so we're actually going to fix that. Show you guys what I mean. So right here, if you look, right, it looks like it just goes like an L, but it actually does not. We're going to go through our photos here. What it actually looks like is this. Actually is like a T, more or less. Let's see if we can zoom out. Yeah, there we go. So this is a better view of it right here. Now this isn't perfect, but it basically expands on both sides, and then it comes up, and then pivots, and then enters this part here. So we're going to try our best to design that. All right, so let's go ahead and scale it out. All right, let's see, is it the scale proper on here? Maybe a little bit like that. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we will add, let's see, this side's going to come out a little bit further than the other side. I feel like it's going to be like that. And then there's going to be like a loop cut here. Loop cut here. And then we'll take this loop cut, move it a little bit. Something like this. I feel like that's pretty close to what it would be. And then you would take this, extrude this up, right? Now you'll see that it looks kind of weird. If you click on even thickness, that'll pretty much fix that issue. Now we'll come back and we'll fix the geometry later because it looks, well, very strange, right? But for right now, this is fine. Is it fine? We'll come back to it later. It does look a little bit funky. Why does it look like that? All right, that's fine. Either way, here, let's do this. Let's do it like this first. Yep. So this is kind of what it would look like, more or less. And then what we would do is we would give it some bevels, because right now it needs bevels. And we're going to bevel these vertices here a fair amount. Remember, we're going to use the weight method. So I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to give everything a mean bevel weight of 1. Actually, I'm just going to give this a mean bevel weight of 1, this a mean bevel weight of 1. I'm going to disable the clamp overlap. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then we want that on every single side, right? 1, we want it on here, 1, we want it on here, 1, we want it right here, 1. And then, how's that looking? Object apply, scale to. Perfect. And that's okay, because I knew that would happen. The reason that happened is because we didn't apply the scale and then the bevel was too much. Perfect. And then I think the reason it's being weird on here is because we need to drag this in a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, this is starting to look really good. And we don't really want to bevel here because there really isn't one. There's this weird stuff going on. We're going to keep this model pretty simple, though, for the most part. Now when we solidify, we should get a slightly better result. Slightly better. Keyword slightly. Just wondering if this has to do with if adding a loop cut here would help. Maybe a loop cut here. Actually, that did help a little bit. We'll add that. Did help with that side. Okay, that helps a little bit. All right, I'm fine with that. All right, kind of place this on the surface roughly. That doesn't look terrible. And then let's add a loop cut right here so we don't get anything weird. And we'll shade that smooth. So now we kind of have something to work with for our like bracket. And there are 2 rivets in that bracket, so I kind of want to see what that looks like. Why isn't it letting me switch pictures here? Here it is. All right, let's see what those rivets look like. Oh, those rivets are very simple. Okay, so these rivets are going to be just like literally like cylinders. I mean, in fact, I'll just literally, excuse me, I'll literally go in here and type in cylinder. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to show you guys something. We don't even really need that much geometry because this is so simple. All right, we are good to go. Okay, perfect. Let me just frame this. Perfect. Let me just see how aligned that looks. That looks pretty good. And now in this case, I'll probably tab into edit mode. I'm actually going to give this a slight bevel. Just ever so slight bevel. Object apply scale. And we'll do 0.001. Boom, boom, boom. Shaded smooth. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then we're going to tab into edit mode, press A to select everything, Shift D, Y to duplicate. And then how many rivets are on there? There's at least 2. I feel like there's a third down here. Let me just check another reference picture. Yeah, there is a third at the end. 1, 2, 3. All of these are like very, very similar products, but they're not. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I do feel like there's a third. There has to be a third rivet. All right, that's fine. We're not going to overthink the rivets. All right, so we got our rivets. We got our little piece right there. And now we need the piece that connects to that piece, which is very, very similar. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to duplicate this, rotate it, do a little one of these trickery guys. Now we kind of got this piece that's like kind of like this, right? Then we're going to take this. We're going to delete this edge. Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. All right, let's see what we have now. So it needs to come across. So I just need to delete this edge. Okay, there we go. So we have this, and then we want this edge to come all the way over here. Okay, and it kind of comes this way, and it meets up with something else. What does it meet up with? It meets up with yet another thing that goes over there. Okay. Oh, and then there's also a little hole in the middle of this thing, so we need to do some kind of... All right, let's do this. Let's Shift D, tab into edit mode, boom, L, X, L selects the shape. Okay, and then we're gonna do RX90, RZ8, L190, perfect. We're gonna go ahead and take this object here, and we're gonna cut into this shape here, just like this. And we're just gonna cut into it for the middle. Kind of guesstimating where that would be here. Yeah, it looks fine. All right, so we're gonna do this. I need the side angle of this. What? It's really hard to see what that actually looks like. It does look like it's cut though, so I'll do this. At the very least, we'll do this. We'll add a boolean. We will add this. We'll hide it. We'll at least add that. And then you know what? I'll take this, scale it down. Scale it down, hide this. I do feel like there's something in there, so I feel like it has to look at least like that, right? More or less like that. Okay, where were we at? Okay, I need another angle. Where's my other angle? So it's just a piece that just goes in there and I guess connects with it. You can kind of see, oh, here we go. We can kind of see on this side a little bit better. There is 3 rivets. I can see all 3 of them. Okay, so there's this piece that just matches up with it, and there's a giant rivet in the middle of that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my side view. I'm going to duplicate. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these 2 edges. Take this, move it here. Oopsies, did not mean to do that. and it's on the back side of this. So it comes up here. Okay, perfect. Now, so that would sit there, and then this one would have like a, or is it on the front side? Man, this is confusing. It's so hard to see from these reference pictures. Oh no, this is on the, it's on the front side, so it's like this. And this is the piece that has the curve on it. So let's get rid of this edge here. Let's get rid of this edge here. And now what we'll do is we will get rid of the bevel. We'll keep the solidify. Why in the world does this look so weird? SX0. Let me just see this in wireframe mode real quick. Bro, what? Oh, it's an extra edge that I didn't need. Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. All right, and then we don't need this edge here. Is this a loop cut? No, it's really not. What the heck happened? Do we restart? We could restart on this one. Let me just dissolve these bottom two vertices. Okay, that's better. All right, we had a weird thing going on there, but I think I fixed it. These shadows are actually tripping me up, so I'm going to turn them off. All right, perfect. Now we go ahead and do bevel. And we come back here, and we want the bevel before. We want it on vertices. And we want this thing to be like that. There we go. Why doesn't it let me add a loop cut? There we go. How does that look? Let's take this top vertice, bring it up more. That might be too exaggerated. There we go. All right. I know it doesn't line up perfectly, and the reason that it doesn't is because this is at a slight different perspective, but that's okay. I think it's still going to work. All right, we're going to use the same rivet technique from before. I'm going to use the exact same rivet, but I'm going to expand it just ever so slightly. We'll just use this as like a rough boolean here. So we'll add a boolean here. We'll go ahead and cut into it with this shape. We'll go ahead and grab this. And there we go. Call it a day on that. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. No one knows where this leads. I don't think it's necessarily supposed to lead that close, so maybe we'll have to push everything else over. So maybe we'll do like a little one of these. Perfect. Oop, not perfect. Oh, because this, God, I gotta look at the backside again. Okay, so it looks like, okay, so this side's gonna look like this. So we gotta take all this, GX. All right, and then we gotta go here. Hide this real quick. Go into edit mode, get rid of this extra edge here because why in the world did I have that? I don't know. Okay, perfect. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to go to my bevel, and we're doing bevel weight, so I just need to give this a better weight here. This needs to be bevel weight of 1, so it does this. Or no, this shouldn't exist. Delete these vertices, take this, give it a bevel weight of 1, and gotta match up. So we're gonna take these two. All right. Add a loop cut right about here. Add another one here. these, scale them up. Take this, GX. Let's see if this works. I'll be impressed if this actually works. Where is this other edge here? Hold on. Why is this not working? What are the... Oh, we don't want... Okay, that's because we want 0 here. 0 here. Not perfect. I don't love it. Did I do a subdiv on this? I feel like I did not. What are you drinking now? I'm drinking I'm drinking coffee. I'm drinking coffee. The reason this isn't working, guys, is because I'm the worst blender guy in the universe. Which is I think I'm just gonna call it on that. I don't really feel like messing with this anymore. Because this thing's gonna irritate me. Whoa, what happened? Oh crap, where's that other cylinder? Ah, darn it. I gotta move this back. There we go. I forgot I had hidden objects, guys. Pro tip, don't do what I just did, because now one of my cylinders is all the way back here when it should be right here. I lost that. All right. God, I cannot believe how much time I just spent on just those brackets. That is insane. And they're not even perfect, but I'll take them for now. All right, I'm not happy with this, but we'll come back to that. Stupid thing. All right, I'm going to take a very, very brief, guys, 2-minute bathroom break. Not even 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Going to check in with the wife. Hold tight. Wish I had more coffee. All right, hold tight for 1 second. We'll be right back. Give me one brief moment. Thank you, guys. Brief moment. All right, guys. We are back. Okay. Thank you guys for your patience. Alrighty, so where were we here? Okay. So we did the brackets. Oh God, do we have to do... Oh my gosh, do we have to do this part next? Oh Lord. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what I just realized that I forgot to do? Also, I didn't make this bolt into a star. and it didn't add those two ridges there. So we can come back and do that, but I cannot believe that I cannot believe that I have to do. I can't believe I have to do this. Why did I pick? I literally picked the simplest objects and then I picked this stinking thing. Guys, what was I like? What was I actually thinking with? What was I like actually thinking with this? Oh my god, where do I even begin? Let me think for a second. We have to design it eventually. Let me see something. Let me see what else there is. So the reason I have these pictures, these are from eBay, is because I wanted to see what this looks like on the opposite side. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to design like this main, let's design like the handle and like this thing, because that's also going to be complex. And then we'll save the absolute most difficult part for the last, because I hate myself as a 3D artist. All right. Okay, well, guys, what was I thinking, really? What in the world was I thinking? All right, let's do this. Let's rotate this RZ 180 because we're going to have to try to line this up with what we have over here. In order to do this properly, we're going to have to lower the opacity on this guy just a little bit. We're going to have to hide everything, including our saw blade. Go here. And now our front guy is this one. So we want to line up the back one as best as possible. That's pretty accurate. All right, I feel good about that. Thank God they kept the same like camera angle and everything. All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to bring this onto the other side, right? And now we're going to design all the other crap. So now this main part here, I believe, is just the motor. So I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to call it motor. And I mean, I'm really just thinking it really just looks like a cube. So I'm going to kind of start with the cube here. I'm going to scale it down, move it up. Okay. Now it looks slightly like I guess oblong, if you will. I'm really thinking for this one, this is a really kind of complex design in the front, but the rest of it's not too bad. So I think I need to get like the general scale of this thing first. So I'm actually going to turn everything back on. I'm going to move this out on the Y. Scale it like that. I still feel like it almost like feels like too big to work here. Is that about how big it is? I feel like it's smaller than that. Let me see. That's about it. All right. I guess we'll just go with that general size. It does feel like a little bit smaller than that, but maybe that's because it has like the bevels on it. All right, let me think about like where I would begin if I was designing this thing. I would probably just start by like I'll probably end up making cuts into it with booleans, but for the most part it looks like it just has this like interesting looking kind of like curved bevel. Like I'm almost thinking for this outside part, like I might even just subdivide this and do a little mirror modifier action for the top and the bottom here. In fact, I think that's what I will do. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my side view here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these bottom faces like that. I'm going to delete everything over here. And I'm going to do a mirror modifier, okay, on the X and the Z. So now anything I do to this, it'll happen to all the other sides, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. And the first thing I'm noticing is it kind of bevels down, like right here. So I think I'll probably do a bevel down on this side, like something like this right here. It kind of has this like beveled look, right? It kind of like goes like that. I'm just kind of like noticing that about it. And then kind of has this like inset, I don't know how to explain it, like it has this inset part that it's almost like the whole part of that is inset. This is probably gonna be one of the more complex parts, but I think I can do it. Like I think I know roughly how I'll go about doing it. I'm happy with that. Now I want to do this. I want to add a loop cut. Oh man, I really set myself up weird for this one. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and no, I don't want to loop cut there. I'm gonna tab out of edit mode. I actually want to delete this side too because I'm gonna cut the end off with a boolean. So I'm gonna add this to the Y as well. And this will make more sense later, I promise. I know right now it's probably not making much sense like why I'm doing what I'm doing, but it will come together in the end. Okay, we'll come back to that. I think it would be better if you apply scale before beveling. Oh, that's true. That could be a little bit better, but I actually think it doesn't have like a perfectly uniform, so it might actually end up working out better. Well, let's see how it comes out. Let's see how it comes out. But I kind of like half agree with you on that one. I'm gonna inset this a little bit here. I'm gonna kind of bring the inset down over here, and I'm gonna kind of just bring it out like this. Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking for. All right, I feel like that was I feel like that looks good. Okay, so I feel like that's like the general shape. Now I'm thinking I'm looking like really closely at this because there's a lot of like little details that I'm noticing that I'm like, okay, maybe I can add some of these in edit mode. Let's see if I can. If I add this here, so I'm seeing this little bit of a ridge, I can add one more of those, and I might be able to add, let me just see what happens if I take these. Yep, it's exactly what I wanted. And then GX to scale it in for this guy. Yep, that's exactly what I was looking for. And then for this part here, we can just take this loop cut, bring it in a little bit. Do one more loop cut here. The heck. There we go. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted. This is E0. What are you doing, bro? No, don't snap. Perfect. All right, that's what I wanted for the top side at least. And then this is where we get to come in, and I think I'll be able to like cut everything out of the sides of this thing. God, who knew the motor would be this like this complex? There we go. All right, that's a little bit better. All right, so what we'll do now is I will, because we have the mirroring. I'm thinking through this, guys, and I'm not trying to be slow about this, but I'm trying to be kind of like methodical. Here's what I'm thinking next. This part is inset right here. So I think we actually might be able to do this manually. Let's just try it. Let's try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll do a Boolean. So I'm thinking like with all these things here, right, we have kind of like all these faces. Let me take these faces first. SY0 to even them out. Now, if we bring them in, notice how we can bring them all in together. If I add a loop cut right here, and then we take them, we just might be able to take them inward a little bit on the Y. Yup. And then we might be able to take this guy in on the X. And now we have something that looks kind of like that. And then we need a loop cut here. Then we need to take this guy, RZ. Oops, he's not. No, RZ. There we go. There it is. That's what I wanted. And then this guy has to come back out here. That's not what I wanted. Well, that's close to what I wanted. Go back. That's fine. All right, so this is kind of like close to what I wanted, and then let's just try to do the same thing on the other side. I don't usually like edit things like this, but we'll try it. All right, so now we kind of need this inset part on the top too. So I'm thinking what we'll do here is we'll do like a loop cut. It kind of starts roughly like, I don't know, like right about there. And then it kind of doesn't really end because we're going to inset it, right? So let's just see. Let's see if we can do it. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, let me add one more loop cut here. And one right here. Yep, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have that one now? Let me just see. It's kind of close. It's kind of close. It's not terrible. Why are you not using Pure Ref? I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't. It's just not what I use. Well, it's not what I'm using right at this particular moment. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. And I feel like now I can probably add in those like bands. Hold on. Let me actually see something. Yeah. There we go. All right, what do you guys think? I actually feel like that's not looking too bad. The only other thing I will say is that I want to set the origin to 3D cursor. Or sorry, I want to set the, I need to, if I'm going to mirror it on the Y, it needs to be, let's do this. There we go. That's what I wanted. Perfect. All right, and then we'll come back up here. We'll take this edge loop. Wait, what the hell happened? Excuse my language. Hold on, I messed something up. Let me come back. What the heck did I just do? There we go. All right, then I just need this to come along with me. What happened here? There we go. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, next thing I need is I need to bring this out on the Y. Okay. And then all I need to do is I need to add in those little like fanned pieces. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't look terrible. I'm like pretty happy with it because I don't normally like model objects like this, so I'm pretty pleased with like how it's come out so far. All right, now for these pieces here, I'm just thinking like an array of like cubes or something like that. All right, I'm gonna scale these. I'm gonna scale them. I'm probably just gonna make like, I think what I'll do is I'll scale this up, add a bunch of loop cuts here. And then I'll probably just use like a modifier. Let's do set origin to geometry. Let's go ahead and do something like that. Let's do a curve or simple deform. All right, and let's do a bend the opposite way. All right, let's do an array as well. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 of them. Offset is going to be like this. Is it 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh, looks like more. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's weird. It really does look like more, but maybe it's not. maybe. Or maybe these are just maybe like a little bit thicker. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Perfect. Okay. And then we're going to scale these down a little bit. Bring them up. Kind of adjust this rotation here. And then let's add a subdivision surface. But before that, we'll add a bevel. Aha. Bevel here. Slight, very slight bevel. Perfect. And a subdiv. For some reason, though, it doesn't look quite right. Maybe we just need to scale this on the X a little bit. Maybe it's supposed to be more like that. Maybe like we just didn't have it quite right. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it was just not quite right. That's okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's duplicate these. Let's rotate them. RY 90. Or actually, let's just do this. Let's go here. Whoa. Boom. And we only need 3 of these. They need to be right here. And they need to be like thicker like that. Let's see what's going on here. Why is this acting so funky? Okay, I think I just need to fix my geometry on here. Yeah, that looks better. There we go. Okay, that's looking decent. I'm like pretty happy with that. I feel like it's not perfect. I feel like these need to be a little bit thicker maybe. They kind of come in a little bit more. Something like that maybe. It's definitely not perfect, but it's definitely also not too bad. Let me just bring this out more. Yo, this mouse is bugging. Sorry. This mouse is actually bugging. No, I don't want to extrude it. I want... There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. That's a little bit better. What do you guys think so far? I feel like it's not terrible. It's not terrible. All right. I'm pretty happy with what we have. I probably will do like the decals and logos, but now I'm realizing, okay, there's like these little like divots in here. So maybe we add the divots as well. And for the divots, I'll probably just do a cube and do some kind of a Boolean. Let's scale that in. Let's see where the divots start. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. 7. Okay. They start about here. Although maybe there's 8 because, well, hold on. We'll do 4 because it's whatchamacallit. We have a mirror modifier, so we'll just leave it on the mirror modifier. They're a little bit more spaced out than that. And they do look like they're, I don't know how to explain this. They're kind of like angled in. Like if you look, it looks like it's like that. Yeah, so let's do that. Punch these into our geometry here. Array, or not array, oh my god, sorry. Boolean. And we're going to use these. And this needs to be before. And now we're going to need to come back and make sure this is all looking even. If I can put this into the collection, there we go. You know what? Let's just add one more. I feel like that looks fine. Yeah, there we go. All right. I'll take that. What do you guys think so far? Let's turn everything else back on and let's see what we got. Holy mackerel. All right, well, we're going to need to cut this bad boy off. Let's add another bully in here. And I'm just going to add a big old cube to cut it off. Just go ahead and cut it off right about here. Another boolean, we'll do this cube here. Wait, did I do the right cube? Nope, I did not. It's this cube. No, is it? Oh my god, which cube is it? It's this cube? Bro, which cube is it? No, it is this cube. Cube 6. There we go. Why isn't it working? Is it not? What do you mean it's not manifold? Try exact. Oh. It needs to be after everything. I'm stupid. There we go. Because we mirrored it. I'm sorry. We mirrored it to that side. That's. Now I feel like an idiot. All right. So what do we have so far? Okay. Let's see. It is shaping up kind of cool. I feel like it looks pretty cool so far. I feel like we got through a lot of it, and now we're on to like the parts that I really don't want to do. Which is, as you could probably guess, the handle and stuff like that. That's going to be interesting. So let's talk about it, because we can't just sit here and act like we don't have to model it. All right. I cannot believe I got myself into this modeling challenge. All right, we've been live streaming for about 2 hours though, but I'm pretty happy with what we have so far. All right, so for our handle for our motor, let me like really take a look at this. I'm going to break it down into some different shapes. Whew, just got a shiver down my spine. We're going to be using the mirror modifier, obviously, right? Like, we look at this and it has this yellow piece that wraps around. I'm tempted to say we could build all of this out of a plane. I'm tempted to say that. So let's try it. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's call it handle. I'm going to do handle and I'm going to do yellow. Okay. Also, this collection is camera and references. Okay. All right, here we go. Handle yellow. Yeah, we're definitely going to need a subdiv. Again, this is like, so my approach to modeling is not the same as everyone else's. And it's definitely not the best way to go about it. But it's what I want to do. This is how I like to figure things out like this. Like, this is just like my method for what I like to do. All right, let's see. We got to do it, right? We got to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. I am going to need something to mirror around, and in this case, it looks like this is probably going to sit around, maybe around like this point here. All right, let's add an empty. I'm going to add an empty, just like a regular empty. I'm going to bring it up. Probably going to place it right about, I don't know, right about there. I'm going to add my mirror modifier. I'll do the y-axis, and I'll select my empty. So now anything I do with this should be mirrored onto the other side, and then we can, of course, move everything as needed. That looks fine for now. We'll come back to like what this is going to look like. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's try to piece this thing together. This is going to be probably the hardest part of the whole thing, or maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. I think I'm just going to start by doing what I always do. I'm going to kind of go in here and just take each edge and just kind of scale it and move it to kind of like match the general profile here. And then, yeah, eventually we're probably going to give it like a subdiv and all that good stuff. But I do think this is probably going to be the best approach. Like, I can't really think of how else I would go about doing this. This is just, I don't know. This is the way that I think I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to go for it. All right. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go ahead and drag this thing up. My mouse is like really lagging right now, and I don't know why. All right, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and take... This is going to be an interesting one. All right, let's take this. Let's subdivide that. Let's take this edge. I'm really a little scared about this. I'm a little scared about this. Little bit scared. I'm not scared. I'm just like, I want to do this and I want it to look good. You know what I mean? But I just don't really know what the best approach is. Oopsies. Okay, here we go. Let's do that. All right, at least we're kind of like getting straighter here. Perfect. Now there is like a bevel up there that we're probably going to be like, have to be like slightly aware of. I'll probably do a Boolean action for like this part here. Kind of start like coming down here. Coming down here, coming down here. Now you're probably noticing why am I like not covering this part? That part looks like inset, so I think I'm going to do that like slightly separately. So this is what I have so far. Let's add a subdiv to this. All right. Just want to see what we have. Okay. Let's come down here. All right. Let me take a look. All right, now this part here, I'm going to start expanding it off of here. Now this part is supposed to kind of like, I guess, grasp like the actual battery itself. Like it almost like holds the battery. So I think I'm just going to kind of go for it here. Yep. No idea if this is going to look good or not. Like genuinely no clue. Okay. So now I have something that looks kind of like that. Cool. Okay. It's kind of coming together a little bit. Again, this is going to be like eventually what I'll do, I'll probably do a solidify, but let me just like really think about this before I do that because I don't want this thing to look jagged and bad. Let me do a solidify before I mirror it. I just want to see what this is going to look like. You know what's funny? You can kind of see the part mark here, so I'll just probably like leave that on there. Yeah, we're definitely going to use this subdiv. Yeah. So far, so good. I feel like this is kind of coming along, right? What I'll say is that the inner part, like this part right here, kind of like insets it, like kind of like goes in. I just want to see how that's going to like behave when I start to piece those together. So I'm probably going to be doing something like this. Yeah, that might work. Like I might have to come in here and do a really big loop cut around the edge first, and then I can take those edge pieces, right? And then I can inset them, right? So yeah, this might actually end up, this might not look too bad when we're done with it. I'm optimistic about it. I really am. I really am optimistic about it. I also think the handle's probably a little bit thinner than this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do something like this. Bring this in a little bit. That looks good. I don't know why the picture is moving. I think I accidentally had it selected. All right. That looks good so far. Let's go ahead and try to get this part down here because we do have a part right here. It's kind of sneaky, but it's there. Let's go ahead and even these out. Let's add a loop cut here. Let's add a loop cut here. Let's grab this. Just want to see what this looks like. Yep, that's what I figured. So you know what I just realized just now? This is not the same. This is not the same thing right here. It's not even the same freaking saw. It's fine. I don't care. Obviously, this is the same saw. Oops. I thought it was in Blender. There we go. Okay. Looks good, not bad idea. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think this is going to work. I don't know 100%, but we're going to try it anyway, and we're going to see how it looks. All right, so I got that piece. Good. Now let's go ahead and see if we can get the handle. This is gonna be the ultimate test right here, because I don't know if this is gonna work. So like what I'm thinking is with this edge, oh, you know what I might be able to do? ES? Why isn't it letting me scale? It is letting me scale it in. Oh, you know what? There we go. That's what I wanted. That is kind of working. Like that's kind of, this was kind of like what I was looking for here. But I don't want the whole thing, so we're going to undo. We just want certain aspects of this to be like extruded inwards. Because like I know right here, I don't want anything in this little gap area. Let me just think this through. Let me think this through so I can do this properly. I don't want, how do I unselect? No, I want, it's going to be a tough one. I want these pieces here. I want that. Wow. Hold on. How do I does anyone know how to unselect? I don't remember. Select. How do you select less? Select more or less. Less is control number pad. Let's try it. I haven't done it before, but let's try it. Control minus. Oh, control minus on the number pad. That's deselected everything. Okay, it's okay. It's not what I want. All right, it's fine. Let's just do it. We'll just do it manually because we have to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know why I'm counting. It doesn't really matter. Darn, this is going to be tough. Where is this loop cut? You know what? I just need to move this loop cut up, and that's going to help me. Perfect. All right. Control plus. Oh, I thought that's what I did. No? Control plus? I am control plusing. It's ironic because on like, you know, if you were to be on a browser, that would be great because that's what I would want to do is zoom in. And it is great that it is zooming me in, but that's not what I want at all. Wait a second. I know what to do. All right, select the whole loop, and then I'm going to get rid of these. Because I don't want those. Everything else. Yep. Perfect. Now I only have the parts that I want. All right, extrude, scale, and then move on the Y. Scale them out a little bit. We'll come back to fix that top part. That's kind of what I was going for. Okay, not terrible. Not terrible. It's kind of like I said, that's kind of what I was going for, a little bit. For the most part, I mean, we're going to clean it up and make it look really good, but I'm trying to see if that geometry is matching up with the way I wanted it to, and it's actually not doing a terrible job. Some of this stuff, I want it to come up here. Like, I'll probably turn on, like, proportional editing for some of this. Oops, that's too proportional. Just kind of want to fix this one part here. There we go. Oh, I see what's going on. Getting a little bit of some weird distortion here. There we go. Bro, this mouse. I might have to switch mouses. Might have to switch mice. There we go. Okay, let's see now. We're going back. Hold on, we're going back. I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. Okay, going back to this. Okay, good. I think it's this part up here that I'm having difficulties with. And thank you guys for the suggestions. I appreciate it. Excuse me. A little sniffly today, to be honest with you guys. Okay, better. Well, excuse me, a little bit better. You know what's funny? This part doesn't even matter because when we build the part on top of it, it's not even gonna be noticeable. So I don't know why I'm stressing so much about it. I think I'm stressing more about that there needs to be like a loop cut right there, and then we need to expand upon that, and we need to fix the gap too, which we will in a second. But let me do this. All right, let's do this. Let's take this. Actually, we need to go into X-ray mode. All right, we're doing the other mouse though, because this mouse is not doing it for me right now. There we go. Turn off our proportional editing. Trying to achieve flow state here, and it's not working. There we go. There we go. It's getting a little bit better. The thing is, we're going to get out of this mode, and it's not going to look anything like this, but that is totally okay, because that is the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's do this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What the heck just happened over here? Okay. This part's thinner. You know what's... I will tell you, like, I would be curious to see how they designed this in their software, because it is wild. Like, it is a wild, like, journey of, like, what in the heck am I doing? Looks perfect, guys. It looks perfect. Obviously it doesn't, but we're going to try to make it look good. Look, half decent. It would be nice. I'll take half decent. Half decent would be really, really nice right about now. Take that. Okay. This geometry, I mean, I've never seen better geometry in my life. I don't know about you guys. I mean, really, it's like, have you ever? You ever seen better geometry in your life? Doubt it. Doubt it. It's obviously, I'm obviously joking. Obviously joking. Let's see. Take a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of this. Oh, didn't mean to do that. There we go. I will tell you, just give me a run for my money. Run for my money. It doesn't look like bad. It just needs some work. Like, it really does need some work. Hold on. I have an idea. Geometry is F up. Thank you. That's what. Thanks. I realize it's not perfect, guys. I know. I know. I'm trying here. Trying as hard as I can. It's not bad, though. It's not bad. It's just not good, per se. Oof. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try the next part now. I feel like that's like the rough shape, more or less. The only problem with this, of course, is the fact that we're going to need to, like, do a solidified type of thing here, but we really can't because these need to be, like, how do I explain this? It needs to be symmetrical, but I'm not going to be able to do the solidify thing right now. I'm not, like, entirely displeased with this. Oh, wait, what happened here? This I am displeased with, though. Hold on, how did this happen? How did this guy get all the way over there? All right, well, that's a fixable thing right there. That I can fix. Huh, not bad. Could be worse. The trigger is, I guess, just like a... I think the trigger could also be like a plain... Can somebody explain why he's clicking Windows middle mouse button? It's just because I'm looking around. I'm just looking around. Like, if you middle click the middle mouse button, you can look around like this. If you hold it down and you look around. Let's just go ahead and appreciate what we've done so far. I'm pretty happy with what we've done so far. This is a hard model. This is a hard 3D model. And you know what? I'm not going to let anybody give me any crap for it because I am very proud of it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's design the trigger real quick. The trigger should be pretty simple. I say that now. I say that now. And am I going to regret saying it? Maybe. I'm thinking the trigger is just really like, at the end of the day, same concept, right? Scale it up, move some stuff around, use the sub-D workflow, subdivision surface modifier. Just take a couple of these, expand them, rotate them, expand them. And then we take some of these guys, maybe like move them here. A little loop cut action here. Take this guy, move it down. Take this guy, move him down. Take this guy, move him over here. That's the general shape. And then we just go ahead and we give this like a solidify modifier. I feel like that looks okay. And then I think we might be able to get away with just like a bevel per se, and then maybe smooth after that. Don't clamp overlap, object apply, scale. All right, and then let's add a smooth modifier. No, not smooth by angle, smooth deform. There we go. Let's do 15. And let's do 20. How's that look, guys? I feel like it needs to be even smoother. Let's do 40. It's too much. All right, that looks fine. Pretty happy with that. The bevel might be a little bit more intense than that. Where's the bevel? Problem is, actually that's good. That's good. Thoughts. I feel like it looks good. All right, so there's our trigger. Keybind display shows both for some reason. Oh, really? That's really weird. That's weird that it's doing that. All right, next up, we have, which part did we not do yet? Which part did we not do? There was a lot of parts we didn't do. All right, so for this middle part here, I am going to actually duplicate this. Get rid of everything. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start from scratch. It's best if we start from scratch. Scale it down. Let's go ahead and rotate this guy. Scale it. Rotate. We're gonna kind of create this like middle piece here, if you will. We're gonna add a mirror modifier to this, and we'll give it the y-axis. Perfect. We'll go ahead and give it something like that. I'm going to give it a bevel. But I want the bevel, so I do want the bevel on the edge like this, right? However, I also want the vertices to be beveled, but I want them to be beveled before the mirror. Okay. Actually, no, after the mirror, I'm sorry. And I want them to be heavily beveled, and I want them to only be beveled where I want them to with the weight, not angle. So I'll type in weight. I'll give this a weight of 1, give this a weight of 1, and then we'll turn off the limit. Clamp overlap. Okay, let's see how that looks. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and grab these things here, move them up. See how that looks? That looks pretty good. We'll give this, I don't know, solidify. That's fun. And then there's 2 bolts in there. And for the bolts, I think we can do cylinders. Yeah, we'll do cylinders. I never use smooth modifier. What does it do? It kind of like it smooths things out, but almost like a subdiv, but not as much, because I think really what it's doing is like averaging all the points and like where they are. It's like merging points and things like that. I'll be honest, I don't know, brother. Not sure what it does. RZ90. Scale. GY. GZ. And you know what we're going to do? We are going to move it and groove it. And you know what? We're going to give this guy a little bit of that. Going to throw him right there. We're going to give this guy a mirror. We're going to mirror it across this shape on the Y. Tab into edit mode. And you know what? Actually, we're going to do a array beforehand. Only one. We're just going to move it. No way. Bro. Are you guys seeing this? I did not know. Now that is cool. That's a cool feature. Now that's the kind of feature we needed in Blender. That is perfect. That's exactly what I needed. So I can adjust the array in the viewport. That's actually... That was wild. I want to bevel this, but I do want to object apply scale first. And then we can increase the bevel 0.001. Let's do 0.006. Oopsies. I need it to be more like that. Oh, you know what? There's a little inset guy on here. You guys see that little inset? We need to do a little like inset. Ah. Okay, we'll do it a little differently than that. We'll Did you guys see that? That looked awful. Let's go ahead and delete this edge. That was funny. All right, perfect. And then we'll go ahead and scale this in. We'll just do a little Boolean action. You know what I mean? A little Boolean. Hide that. Do a little Boolean difference. How's that look? Oh, you know what? I do agree, guys, that this top edge is too high. It needs to be more like right about there. Thoughts, comments, concerns? I feel like that looks pretty good. And then we're going to need this little weird thing going on here. This is like a little button, if you will. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to get rid of the bevel. I'm going to get rid of the array. I'm going to keep the mirroring because I think this is the switch to switch the... Why would you... No, it's the lock. It's the lock. So I don't need mirroring. But I do need to go into edit mode. I need to focus in on this object. I need to go here. I need to go right here. GX. Actually, let's do this. GX. You know what? This isn't going to work because it's not perfectly even, excuse me. You know what we'll do instead? We'll just make it out of something else. That's okay. I wanted to reuse this piece, but I don't have to. Scale it down. GY RX90 to fit. Let's go into X-ray mode. Rotate. Go ahead and do a little something like that. You know what I mean? A little bit of that. Try to get it as close as possible. Of course, we'll take each edge. We'll extrude it. Something like that. Now, yes, there's other ways you could do this. There's 1,000,010 ways. I'm waiting for the comments. Well, you can do this a different way. Can you actually? I know. So we're gonna solidify this bad boy. All right, but before we do that, we need to bevel. And we need to bevel the vertices only. Clamp overlap, no thank you. I do not want to keyframe that. Thank you very much. Haha. Perfect. Perfection, one might say. Shade smooth. Add another bevel, this time to the edge. Get rid of the clamp overlap. Object apply scale. Whoa. What? Something weird is happening here. Oh, it's because I know why. Shaded auto smooth. Let's just go ahead and convert it to a mesh. Let's smooth it out. Let's remesh it first. This is the most ridiculous way I've ever done this, but it might just work. Okay. That was a horrible way to do that, but it worked. So I don't care. I'm also going to duplicate it again, convert it to a mesh, and I'm going to scale it up so we can get the inset for the Boolean. And then I'm going to go here, and of course I'm going to collapse everything, add in my Boolean modifier. Select this bad boy, hide. Now we have our like inset part right there. And we're starting to piece things together here. Why do I have two of these? Okay, that was weird. I don't know how that happened. I never enabled that. Okay, good. Now, another thing we're going to need here is I'm going to need to fill in the middle of this with some geometry because the solidify modifier is not really going to work for like what we're doing. You never used, oh, you have used the smooth modifier. Okay. This is a complex thing, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you know what I never did? I never gave these mirror modifiers. Whoopsies. We need a mirror modifier on the z-axis, and we need to target this guy. We also need a mirror modifier on this guy. And we need it on the x-axis, and we need to target this guy. Perfect. I was like, something's missing here. Ha! That was it. All right. Focus, 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 hocus pocus. We need to, unfortunately, design this piece now, which is going to be an absolute you-know-what, but we got to do it. Somebody got to do it, and it's us. Us, we are the somebody. Let me see if I can finish this yellow part, though. Oh, good Lord. What did I get myself into here? You know what, though? This yellow part, I might be able to... This isn't too crazy from this point, so hold on. Where's my side view of this thing? I don't really have a side back view, but I think it's actually quite simple. It kind of just insets a little bit. Let's keep it relatively simple here. Let's see how much of this I can select. Selects that part, selects that part, that's fine. And then I don't really need any of this up to here. I don't really need that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do a little extrude guy here. Bro, what? That's not what I wanted. Oh, that's because I have this selected. I don't need these selected. Okay. There we go. All right, and then watch this. SZ0, GZ. Haha. Now we have the bottom part. Scale it out on the X a little bit. We'll come back to that. And then we'll add a little inset there with a loop cut. Boom. GX. GZ. And then we take this bottom loop. Hold on. This bottom loop plus this. GY. Did I do it? Nope. Not the way I wanted to, at least. Does this thing have... Oh, it does have subdiv. That's probably why it's looking like that. Let me see. Ah, that would probably help. Why am I not getting the result that I desire? Trying to figure out why I'm not getting the result that I'm looking for here with this. God, what is happening here? All right, hold on. I'm going to undo some of this stuff. I don't like what we did. Undo, undo. Please let me undo back to the point where I was before. No. Oh, man. That's a shame. Oof. Hold up. Dissolve edges? No, I actually want to delete these faces. These bottom faces that I created that I actually don't want anymore. That's fine. All right, instead, let's do this. We might just be able to add something, excuse me, add something behind that using maybe, excuse me, a simpler method, I'm hoping. That's kind of what I was looking for. Better. Better, better, better. And then we just have to adjust this offset here. Better. What do you guys think? Much better? I feel like it's definitely much better. There we go. I mean, I'll take that for now. And I feel like I could probably even move some of this stuff in, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that so far. This thing's been an absolute pain, but it has been fun as well. Make sure the wife is okay. It's 2:17. I got about 45 minutes left, guys. Give me 1 second to check in with my wife. Family always comes first, but then again, there's some important things we have to get done on this. Let's see, that goes there. Man, this part right here is going to be... Why did I sign up to do this? Why? Why did I sign up to do this? I don't know. I just did. I will say, once we get the screw designed, what we can do is we can just duplicate it all over the place with wherever it needs to go. So that's kind of nice. You know what? Let's design this little part over here. This part. Yes, let's do it. I'm gonna do I'm just gonna do a plane for this one. No, don't delete. I do need to check the side view though, because I want to see, does this like extend out? So it kind of just extends out. It has some like extrusions in it. Okay. All right, same deal. Take an edge, extrude it, scale it. You know what I might just do? I might just do this. I'll show you what I'm going to do. This is going to be a little simpler for me. Now we go here, and we just take each one of these, move it along. Yeah, this is going to be a lot easier. So we have our extrusions, and then all we're doing is just adjusting the geometry here. Nothing too crazy. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and move it where it belongs, which is right about here. We'll give it some solidity. Cool. Okay, maybe give it a little bevel as well. I guess we need a subdiv first. Subdiv. Okay. See right here. All right, there we go. And then we'll give it a bevel. Oops, or not. There we go. Go ahead and get rid of clamp overlap. Nice. Fixed it the tricky way, but it worked. Perfect. All right, so we kind of have this extruded part. And now for those interfaces, I'm thinking I can just do like sort of like a Boolean kind of operation. Maybe something simple. I'm just going to assume that both sides have the exact same like setup. Again, same concept as always. We take our vertices, kind of start placing them together where they're supposed to be, and just start extruding like crazy. All right, now time to align everything the way that we want it. This kind of goes here, that kind of goes over here, that kind of goes right there, that kind of goes there, that kind of goes right there, right there, right there. Subdivision surface. Loop cut to smooth it out. Looks good. Now I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to take everything on one side, SX0, rotate it, scale it, rotate it again, kind of get it to match up. Now SX0 scales everything, and it basically makes, sorry, rewind, SX0. It scales everything and rotates it, and, or sorry, kind of just like aligns it, if you will. So this is like a really nice, cheap little trick to just like get really, really quick shapes here. Oops, did not mean to do that. Although that was pretty cool. I don't really use, there's a lot of like tools, I don't know if you guys are the same way, but there's a lot of tools that I like just don't use in Blender. That would be one of them, like coming in there and like, you know, creating a bunch of new windows and all that crap. Like I don't really use that stuff most of the time. Probably should. All right, so I got the basic profile. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead in here and do solidify. I love this. This is my favorite way to like do things in Blender. I just feel like it's so easy to do. And there's nothing, like there's no complications with it. Like it works every single time. When I want it to work, it works. I'm going to mirror this on the Y. Okay, maybe the Z. I don't know. What the heck's going on here? Oh, I see. Hold on. You think about why this would not be working. Oh, because I have. Here, I'll just do this. A. Excuse me. There we go. All right, now I can do the Boolean. So now we go here. We go to a Boolean operation. We select this. And there we go. We have it. Perfect. All right. So now I got that part. You said same, yeah. I want to look at what we have so far, and I do need to take one more bathroom break. Sorry, guys. Good Lord. How have we even done it? Or we're not. It's funny because like we're not even close to being done. But I don't know, guys. We did a really good job so far. What do you think? Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's do this too. Quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. I'm happy with what we've done so far. I really am. All right, guys, thank you so much for waiting. Sorry about that. Always important to check in with your wife, make sure she's doing okay, and of course, the baby boy. So I do have a heater going on in here, so be a little bit warmer for me. It's a little cold down here. Don't want to get too cold modeling. So if you hear something in the background, that is what's going on. All right, where were we? All right, let's first of all make sure we do shade all this. There we go. All right. All right. So we got that part done. We got that done. Hold on, I'm thinking. Okay. I guess we kind of like have to do this part up here. Ugh, as much as I don't want to. All right. We have to. Okay, let's make a new collection. Let's call it Handle Black. We're going to start with the same concept here. We're going to go ahead and do like a mirror modifier on this. We'll do it on the y-axis, and we'll use this empty. So we'll kind of start it roughly in the same spot. We'll use a solidify. I just need to start it roughly in the same spot. There we go. All right, same concept. We're going to take this, we're going to extrude it, and we're just going to go for it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and then eventually, I'm sorry, we do have to, what am I thinking here? We're going to have to, obviously, use a subdiv on this. Hold on. I don't like the way I did that. I want to do it like this. Kind of an abstract way to do this, but this is how I want to do it. Oh yeah, if I ever don't talk, by the way, it's because I'm so locked in. I'm sure you guys get the same way. I'm so locked in that I don't want to like lose my own focus. So it's not that I'm trying to be rude and not talk to you guys. It's more just for me like to focus as best as I possibly can on the task at hand. Anybody else? Can anybody else relate to that? Hopefully. Promise I'm not rude. Promise. Hey, what the heck? There we go. Ooh, how do I do this part? I feel like I almost want to say this should be two separate pieces. Let me just really look at this. Jesus. This is a complex piece. I knew this was going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. But I didn't want to admit it to myself, you know? God, do I just like... I mean, there's so many ways I could go about doing this. I do feel like my best bet is to keep this like two separate pieces. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do that. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it was gonna look. So like this is one of those things where it's like, okay, this doesn't look terrible. It does look like the general shape, and like I knew it would, but I'm pretty happy with like that result of like how that came out. Pretty happy with it. Curious what would happen if we generated a bevel on this. Let's see. You know what I was just thinking actually? We could probably like take this into sculpting mode and we could sculpt it. I feel like that would almost be easier. I can't get over how complex of a shape this really is. And the line, like the line work on it. I'm just gonna like kind of stare at it for 1 second because sometimes that helps me. This one's a complex one. Why am I getting such weird results over there? It's weird. Hmm. Oh, I'm stupid. Let me just see. I'm just curious what would smooth do here. Oh my gosh. That is hysterical. But it is but the funny part is like that's kind of like what I want, to be honest. I wonder what would happen if I remeshed it. Ooh, I wonder if I remeshed it at a high voxel count and then I smoothed it. Nah. Although I will say, like, that is cool that we can even do that. But I would have never thought to do it like that. Man, this one's gonna be a tough one. Um, I am thinking. I guess like my first thought is like, I guess we have to produce a some kind of loop cut on here because if we don't, then we won't be able to like give it like some kind of level of definition on the handle, like at least some level of definition. Okay, so what I'm thinking now, and I didn't realize this was on this side, I'll take this loop cut, like if I bring this loop cut in, now we kind of have something. So obviously we're going to have issues with like where the solidify is going, but now we kind of have something that's like, okay, now there's like some actual definition to this thing, right? Let's want to see. Yeah, so like now there's like actual like definition to this thing, whereas before like there really wasn't. I want to see what would happen if I reduced this. There we go. Just reduce that a little bit. Oopsies. What is happening here? How do I change the direction of the solidify? I do feel like there's a way to do that, and I don't remember exactly what it is. Yeah, like, obviously, that's going to be perfect, right? That looks good. That looks good. I think we'll go with something like that. Manually bevel the big curves first, you said? That's a good idea. And I think I might have to. That's the other thing about this part. All right, we need to get back into a flow state. We're losing juice here. There's a few other like bolts and things I want to add. Oh, you know what? I didn't add these black pieces either. I'm getting too distracted because I really hate this part of this project. If I'm being quite honest, although it isn't that bad. Let me just see something. I want to see something here. Let's do that. Looks, excuse me, that looks a little bit better. I'm actually happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now let's do the bottom one. Do we just bring this one in too? Gives it a little bit of definition, or do we extrude it, scale it, move it down? Wait, what did I do before? Did I just literally? I think I did. I just extruded it in. I feel like this part here, like, should be scaled up. Sorry, scaled up. No, hold on. It's tripping me up that it's I'm going from the wrong side here. So let me do this. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now that I'm looking at the correct side, I almost wonder if we just take this part here. The rest is straight, but I feel like this part is not. So maybe we take this part, then we extrude it, right? And then we move it in towards the Y. Right? Kind of like that. It's not what I wanted though. That's sort of what I wanted. But I want them to meet in the middle, obviously. Who knew this project would be an absolute atrocity? Atrocity? No? I also am just now noticing that my handle actually needs to be modified as well because it's clearly not reaching out where it needs to be, and this is way, way, way too far in. Unless I just made this too thick, which I don't think that I did, but maybe I did. Yeah, maybe I genuinely insetted that way too much. Hold up, I want these parts here. Oh my gosh, my life, my life. What's that from? Where the guy? Oh, it's Has everyone ever seen Friends? Where he's like, where Ross is like, my life, I'm fine. Maybe the top is thinner. This is hands down one of the hardest models I've probably ever worked on. But now that I'm looking at it, I wonder if I can do like proportional editing on the inside, because at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff, maybe I'm like, maybe, you know, maybe I just do something like that. It's like a little bit better. Because there is an inset, but it's not like as intense as probably I'm making it out to be. It's a little bit better. You know what? I'm going to come back to this again. Remember how I keep saying I'm going to come back to stuff? Well, I promise, guys, I'll come back to this. Because this one's going to drive me crazy. All right, next step. Okay, next step, I think I'm going to add some of these bolts in, because I keep kind of slacking off on the bolts, and then whatever this little, like, thing is. In fact, what is that thing? Of course, it's like coming out of some sort of thing up here that I can't see. So where's the side angle view? Oh. Oh, wait. Oh my god, you're joking. You're joking. Okay, so this piece that we designed, it's got a piece coming off of it. It's okay, it's okay. We're just going to go ahead and pretend like we already knew that. We're going to add a cylinder. And we're going to put this into the yellow handle, because that's really where it should go. And we'll just pretend like we knew everything was fine. Okay, perfect. All right, so what I'm thinking for this, by the way, this is slightly smaller than that one. We'll just go ahead and wonder if I can just do this. Yes, I can. Except we want... Yep. And then we just go ahead and just do a little bit of this number. Okay, cool. And then we'll just go ahead and just, you know, inset these guys. And we will, what is it? You gotta do face, and then what is it? Bridge. Oh, let's see if I remember how to do this. I do not. We'll just delete the faces, and then we'll select the edge loops. Press F. Press edge, and then bridge edge loops. Aha! I knew how to do it. Smooth it, and then we need some kind of little pipe that goes through it. So I think I'll add myself a little curvy action guy. Add curve, Bezier curve. Scale it. Okay. All right, here we go. Just go ahead and bring that into the X, the Y rather. All right, and we need this to be, we need to have some geometry. We need it to be round. And we need it to be about that thickness. We need to fill the caps. We'll have the resolution be really, really good. And then we will take this guy. We gotta bring it right here. And then we gotta extrude it. Rotate it. There we go. Rotate it like this. Rotate it like that. And then we gotta take this guy, rotate it like that. Oops. Okay. Man, this is a tough one. We're getting it, but it's just tough because there's a lot of like little tiny discrepancies to get it just ever so perfect. And then we take this guy, make sure that it's angled this way, extrude it, and then I think we almost have what we're looking for. So what we're looking for, I feel like that's close. And then this guy is going to come up here more. Okay, I feel like that's kind of close to what we're looking for, except for this. This is getting a little wonky over here. Why is this one looking so weird? It looks okay. You could add a mirror modifier, but the only thing is the curve is shorter on this side. So otherwise I would. I guess you could add a boolean, but yeah, I don't know. But good call. Yeah, it's a good idea. All right, I feel like that's pretty good. I'm not going to go into crazy detail. There's a couple other weird things like going on with that little clip, but for the most part, I feel like that looks pretty good. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Getting a little distracted here, but I kind of want to fix this part. Oh, you know why it's like that? Because we didn't do anything with the solidify modifier on here yet. Son of a gun. That's because we need to figure out this edge loop here. And this one. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. That looks a little bit better, I feel like. What do you guys think? I feel like it's starting to kind of get somewhere here. Yeah, it's starting to look like something here. We need to fix this part up here, though. It needs to be fixed. not bad. Not bad. We'll fix this down here in a minute. All right, so there's like some bolts that we need to design. So let's go ahead and design. I'm going to make a whole collection called bolts. Just make sure my wife is okay. All right. All right. So for the bolts, let me just click here. Okay, here we go. So for each bolt, I feel like they're just kind of like this star shape. But we're just going to make like the head of the bolt because we don't really need to see the rest of the bolt. So I think I'm going to do a cylinder. We'll make this really big first, and then we'll scale it down. Scale it. How many pieces does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is just kind of create like this little, like kind of the head of the bolt, and then we'll cut into it. That looks fine. Do an edge split, subdiv, call it a day. Actually, we need to do a bevel. I'm sorry, we need to do a bevel. Scan. I'll do the bevel myself because this needs to be. That looks fine. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll add a cylinder with 6 sides. Bring it up, scale it, crunch it down. Will you make the low high poly of this model? Probably not, no. I'll probably just make this whatever this is right here. Okay, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to click on each one of these sides. I am going to go to face, extrude faces along normal, oopsies, and then Alt S, oopsies, Alt S, which doesn't want to work. Let me try this one more time. Extrude individual faces, that's what I was trying to do. Perfect. And then Alt S. Not sure why it's not working, that's fine. Alright, we're going to punch this out of this shape, but we're going to give it a little bevel first. Does that look about right? Maybe the bevel's a little bit more intense. How's that look? I feel like it looks... not entirely happy with it. Hold on. Kind of happy with that. Let me do this. Go to my side view. Alright, that's better. That was kind of what I was looking for there. Wow, I cannot believe how much I'm overthinking a bolt. What do you guys think? Again, I'm probably completely overthinking it. I actually think that I just messed it up. Hold on. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a mesh. The most overcomplicated mesh that I would ever need in my entire life. Oopsies. Not ready for that yet. All right, there we go. All right, now, where are there bolts? Let's find out. Oh, they're just about everywhere. What is going on with that? There we go. Oh, you can't tell that it's got that star shape, but it does. All right, so now about how big is the bolt? I guess as big as these, because at the end of the day, that was supposed to be a bolt, so I guess we can add those there. But let's go ahead and add them where they're supposed to go first. Oh, and yes, we will use, you guessed it, instancing. Okay, so there's a bolt there. That just goes to show you my geometry is not what it's supposed to be right now. Instance over here. So we need to flatten some of our geometry, clearly. Oops. There's bolts over here. It's supposed to be one like right there. There's going to end up being one right there soon. There's one down here. This one's a little bit bigger than the other ones, so I'll scale that up a little bit. Then we'll grab one of the smaller ones, bring it here. Another big one down here. Big one down here. Big one up here. All right, let's see. They're all just going to be floating in outer space. Well, some of them will be, so we need to make sure they're kind of near the surface a little bit. These ones are pretty good. This one needs to come out. This one needs to come out. What the heck? Is there one right there? Oh, wow, there really was. Okay, so clearly my geometry is a little messed up, so I need to fix that. This one's supposed to be on some interior hinge inside of that, so we'll fix that later. This thing's really starting to look like something, huh? I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah, so we're gonna, we will eventually texture it. I will say this is probably the hardest marketing challenge, modeling challenge that I've ever done. A lot of it was pretty simple, but for the most part, it's crazy how much you have to really think about things in advance before you start designing. Like looking back, there's probably a lot I would have done pretty differently. Yeah. Let's design this weird handle thing. See if I can see this. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide most of this stuff. Let's do, I'm going to do black handle. I'm going to do, black, I'm going to call it grip. This is kind of more of like a grip. Okay, and we'll probably do, I feel like we can design this off of a, I'm excited to see you add the label. Oh yeah, the label. Yeah, we gotta be careful because we can't get copyright infringed on this channel. So I might not be able to add the label. We'll probably just finish the modeling in this, and then we'll do texturing the next time around. So let's do a, I'm tempted to say a cube. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a cube. All right, I'm gonna scale this down, kind of bring it over here. Start it like this, right? Something like that. Now I got to make sure that my cube is lined up where it should be. It should be about here. Or no, hold on, let me look at the pictures again. It's actually on the motor, and it's on the motor off to this side, right here. I'm going to keep it up like that so we can kind of see what's going on here. All right, so now I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'll grab this face here. There we go. I'll extrude it, scale it, extrude it, scale it in a little bit, extrude it, extrude it. So this, why doesn't it let me select the loop? Not sure why it's not letting me do that, but oh, because I'm not in edge select. Oh my god, I'm not even in. Oh my gosh, I was on proportional editing that whole time. That's okay. All right, let me just see something here. Actually might have benefited me a little bit that I was on proportional editing, because that's actually more or less kind of how it looked. All right, now we're going to go ahead and extrude it on the X. Okay, we're going to rotate that. Shoot, why is this being so weird right now? All right, let me add a subdiv to this, kind of see what it's starting to look like. All right, so we're clearly going to need a loop cut right here. We're going to need one right about here. Need one right about there. I'm not gonna lie, this is turning out a little better than I expected it to. Did not expect it to look this good right off the bat. Can you explain the edge split modifier? The edge split modifier or the actual, like, I honestly, I probably can't even explain the edge split modifier. Why in the world does that look like that? Oh, it's because of what I did. It's fine. Ironically, I need one on the other side anyway, too. So I'm adding edge loops right now, which is going to help me, like, define the way that the shape looks. That actually doesn't look that bad. It kind of looks close to, like, what it should look like, I feel like. And you know what I just realized? I should be doing this in... Here, you know what? I got to do this now. I need to make a mirror modifier, because I should have been doing that the whole time. And that is my mistake. Let's do mirror. There we go. Perfect. Now I can actually adjust it properly. All right, so now I can start to come in here and be like, boom, right, kind of fix that edge there. Much better. I should have done that to begin with, because I should have known I was going to have some issues there. Oops. Can't see. There we go. All right, that's much better. Okay, so now that I have that, I can actually come in here. I can kind of take all of these vertices here I can bring them out on the Y because this really ultimately would be coming out a little bit more. In fact, these are almost going to be like all aligned. In fact, I'm tempted to say, go ahead and take these, right? Completely go X-ray mode on this. And then we'll do S, X, no, I'm sorry. SY 0. Go to the top-down view, rotate this out like that. There we go. Better. SY0 as usual. And then if we need to kind of work on this, we can kind of go here. Just be really, really careful with the part. And it's starting to look like something at least. I feel like that looks pretty good. 100 of likes. 100 of likes. No 97, 0 dislikes. Wait, what? Do you have quads everywhere? Both? Oh yeah, use auto mirror. Yeah, I know. That was the whole plan, was to do that. We may have to hop offline here soon though. All right. Okay, here we go. So we got that. I feel like there's only a few more like parts that we need. The dreaded part. Hold on. Where is? We're gonna need to do this part next, which I really am not wanting to do at all. Oh, you have. Oh, there's one weird person that gave a dislike. That's all right. Hey, they're allowed to. Free country, right? Do what you need to do. For me, like, it doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's funny now. I realized this. I was designing some parts that were not supposed to be. There was a few parts on here that were not supposed to be on here that we accidentally designed. Darn, we really do have to design that one part. It's like the only part left, and I've been avoiding it this whole time. Well, there's actually a couple parts left. I'm sorry, that's not true. There are a couple parts left that I do need to do. Okay. This needs to be like that. There we go. Okay. All right, so the part that I need to do is going to be here. Oh my gosh. There it is. Okay. I guess I just kind of have to go off this roughly. I don't know exactly what this looks like at that angle. I am going to try my absolute best to get it right, but this might be tough. I think the first thing I'll do is just start with a plane. This is going to be the, what part would this be? I guess this would technically be like the side angle bracket. I'm just kind of eyeballing what this is going to look like. This is not going to be perfect, guys. I can't see that angle that well, so I'm going to be eyeballing this to the best of my abilities. Okay, so first thing I need to do is subdiv. All right, I'll take this. I'll scale this up a little bit. Wait a second, why can't I see? Oh, I see. I couldn't, you know what's funny? I couldn't see these lines, but I don't want to, I don't know how to, I guess shadows would make sense here. All right, shadows could make sense here. Wait, why can't I see? There we go. Is that going to slow everything down? A little bit, but that's okay. All right, let's do this. It's about right there. Rotate it like that. Take this. I don't know. Extrude it. I don't really know. Maybe not. Is my angle messed up on this? Or am I not doing this right? Alright, there it is. Hold up, let's delete that edge. Start over real quick. This thing really takes a turn. Real sharp, real fast. Alright, here we go. Tell you what, this is a funky shape here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good thing that I'm a funky guy and I can figure it out. Thoughts? I feel like that looks like kind of what it's supposed to look like. And then I feel like this edge probably extrudes this way. Yeah, something like that. And then we'll just go ahead and give this a solidify. Now here's the tough part. I don't know, like, I'm not entirely sure about what it looks like on this opposite side. Like, I'm kind of just guessing. Like, I don't really know. Okay. I think I kind of see what it does. All right, so it goes like that, and then I think part of it goes up like this, right? And then, what the heck happens next? It goes like that way, so I guess it goes like, I don't know, kind of goes like this. I feel like that's what it looks like on this side profile here. Why does this look so weird here? Come back to that. All right. We're getting close to the end here. Guys, I think I am going to hop offline. How long have we been streaming for? We've been streaming for about 3 hours and 39 minutes. We will pick back up on this. But unfortunately, I know. Yeah, my wife. I'm leaving you. 1 minute. I gotta watch this Blender live stream. Yeah. So we will come back to this. I promise. This is starting to look really good. Like I'm pretty happy with how far we've gotten. We did a whole lot. Like there's a lot of geometry going on here. I feel like we did pretty good modeling wise, but there's more to do still. I hope you enjoyed it so far, but unfortunately, I do got to go because I got to get ready for something we're doing today. But um, I promise we'll do this again soon. We will pick back up on this, and I hope you guys have a great day. There will be a part two. Look out for that this coming week. And thank you guys. I appreciate it. I do think it's coming out pretty good. It's just piece by piece, right? There's a lot to go on with this this live stream. I mean, there's a lot. But guys.